away.
Oh, that would be tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was good segment, but
mine was funny.
He had actually some levity.
Yeah, I heard yours was funny too.
The chaplain.
The chaplain who did the last rites for my father.
Yeah.
This is just the Cliff Notes.
All right.
Did the last rites, and we're in the hospital. And my dad just minutes ago passed away, and he's in the bed right there. And the chaplain, first of all, his phone goes off twice in the middle of the last rites.
Yeah.
And then he does the whole thing. He says, "Amen." And then it's silent for a few seconds. And he says, "Does anybody need the parking pass?"
Did you punch him?
No, I went like that. Because I was so emotional, and then this idiot
just
asks if we need our parking validated.
I don't think I have words to say.
Can we wait till we roll my dad out of here first? Then we'll worry about parking?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
So I learned something today. Anytime you're at a hospital, walk up to the chaplain and say, "Hey, can you validate my parking?"
That's the other thing. Like, can you do that?
They've got the best parking spaces in hospitals of anybody.
Well, they got to make them a little large so that people can get in and out of the
reserved
cars.
for the chaplain, it says out there.
Oh.
And it's right in the front row.
Oh, I love front row parking.
And there they are. The doctors are behind the chaplain.
Yeah.
So there, I mean, if you probably get the priest before you get the doctor.
All right.
That would actually be really disconcerting if you're going in for surgery and a priest walks in before the surgeon. You're like, what are they not telling me?
They just wanted to get their parking validated.
You're laying on the bed like, is this bad?
Is this bad? Why is there a priest here? I'm not even Catholic.
We're off the rails on our radio tires here this morning, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to change our radio tires and then change topics when we come back on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Over 30 years ago, it was that can-do spirit which helped the founder of Reinhold Flooring start the business, installing Reinhold quality carpet and beautiful flooring himself. Now, Reinhold Flooring is still family-owned and operated and winning St. Louis Magazine's best flooring store 2 years in a row. With Reinhold Flooring, it's not about the sale, it's about the amazing floor to perfectly match your house and your life. Customer-driven since day one. Visit ReinholdFlooring.com. With so many ideas you can do it with a can-do crew at Reinhold Flooring. ReinholdFlooring.com.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Hi, it's Kent Newbold for Newbold Toyota. Your car is worth more than ever before, so why trust the damages for your servicing? Come see the factory-trained experts at Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Another great one for you, ladies and gentlemen. The new joke, Uncle Sam's short form for taxes. The first line, how much did you make? The next line, send it all in.
That's really not that funny. But it's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay the taxes. Steve Hall of the All Financial Group believes there's a better plan for your retirement than Uncle Sam's plan. In fact, he invites you to attend an exclusive educational event focusing on taxes in retirement. What if the savings you realized would allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about all that now? Join Steve and the team for this upcoming event on April 25th or April 27th. This event is complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. Call 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, BWA, a registered investment advisor. BWA and All Financial Group, LLC are independent of each other. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 8039738.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Connect with KMOX on air, online, 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Amy Marks, Chris Ranji on KMOX, in with Hancock and Kelly today on a Friday. Wonderful, lovely Friday.
It is.
Outside.
Look how blue the sky is.
It is bluer than blue.
It's a periwinkle.
There's not, is it?
Yeah.
Isn't periwinkle a purple?
Yeah,
Periwinkle's purpler.
Oh, all right.
It's not purpley enough. It's just
I'm
blue.
glad you're here because if I would have said that's not periwinkle, he would have said, Kelly, what's the matter with you? That's periwinkle. You don't know.
John,
your
did you
color."
just learn periwinkle? Is that why you said it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's that old cartoon we had.
This
Periwinkle.
sweet guy, I know we need to get into some serious topics, but this
you have lost your mind this morning.
this little jokester of ours,
Ugh.
John Hancock, we're here this morning, we're coming up with stuff to talk
Yeah.
about, and he's giving me little rips and stuff, and all of a sudden the FaceTime button makes some noise on his phone. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And who is it?
Tula.
Tula. And for the next
Aw.
3 minutes, he's staring at his phone like this, going, bah, 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 bah. I took a picture.
Aw. This guy, he's a lover.
Let me tell you something about John Hancock.
Yeah.
I think you are adorable. just an adorable man.
I do too.
I wish my wife felt like.
I think she does.
She does.
Oh, okay.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Jayla loves you.
what about this Clarence Thomas thing?
Oh,
Well, speaking of adorable,
let me just ask you a question before let's just a hypothetical. What do you think would be the reaction right now if, I don't know, maybe, Elena Kagan had a house who was paid for by maybe a George Soros? Do you think that would be a big deal right now going on? Do you think that there would be, calls for riots, et cetera, in the streets?
I don't think anybody mentioned it. I think they just let it slip.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Well, it's not a good look, is what my friend John Hancock would say. I think it's full on corruption right in front of our eyes. I mean, here he is getting his house paid for, his mother's houses around his mother being purchased. One that was a nuisance property where there was a lot of noise. The house gets remodeled. She then stays in there for 5 or 6 years. This is all happening from a billionaire, by the way, who has a Hitler statue in his backyard. True statement. But this is all happening from a billionaire who didn't know this man prior to him being on the Supreme Court. But it's just a bad look. That's what I'm being told. I think it's full on corruption.
yeah, I don't. It's a bad look. There's no evidence though that Clarence Thomas has ruled and changed his ruling philosophy, but I do think that the ethics requirements for the court are going to be rewritten and should be rewritten in light of this.
Should he resign?
No, I mean, he's not going to.
Because more information has come out about Clarence Thomas, the gifts he was receiving from the billionaire Republican donor Harlan Crow. When the story first broke, I have to be completely honest, well, and I said it on air, I didn't think it was a huge deal because I thought it was limited to him staying at Harlan Crow's private residences for a vacation, and that if you do stay at someone's house and it's their residence, you don't have to disclose it. If you get there by any means other than a commercial vehicle, plane, whatever it may be, you do have to disclose it. And Clarence Thomas didn't disclose that he was flying on a private jet to these vacation homes. He had said they were friends for a couple of decades, And I thought, okay, this is a gray area when it comes to the hospitality ethics rules regarding the court. And it didn't strike me as big of a deal as, for instance, Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas's political activism. That seemed like a bigger deal. But now as more information comes out, exactly the type of gifts, money, housing, whatever it is paying for Harlan Crow and his relationship with Clarence Thomas, it seems to have gotten significantly more complicated.
Well, I think that's accurate. And now he did say he's going to turn the mother's house into a museum for Clarence Thomas.
Oh, come on.
If anyone would like to buy my mother's house,
The Hancock Museum.
Odyssey.com.
But I mean, look, this is on top of the scandal with the revealing of the ruling, the abortion ruling that, they did their thorough investigation. And guess what? They found nothing. Only 50 people could have done it. And I'm sure John Roberts is going to give us the same type of talk that, we're going to look into this, blah, blah, blah. Nothing's going to happen. I hope the Senate takes action on this.
And by the way, just to clarify, Harlan Crow has statues of Stalin, Castro, Lenin, Marx, and Guevara.
And Hitler.
He has artifacts of Hitler, a painting of Hitler's,
and
he
a
has
signed
Nazi
copy
artifacts.
of Mein Kampf.
Mein Kampf, yeah.
This guy's a
he does.
wacky dude.
Hancock and
Yikes.
Kelly
Hey.
are here.
Yikes.
We will continue the discussion of fun when we come back on KMOX.
I think there are a million interesting conversations to have.
There's always great conversation waiting on the Dave Glover Show.
Where I think we're going so very wrong is that we no longer read, we no longer research, we no longer study. Our version of that is Tucker Carlson or TikTok. Newsflash, get ready to get blown away. These people aren't always the most honest.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays beginning at 1 on KMOX. If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is often laced into illicit drugs and used to make fake versions of prescription pills. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. Suppliers mix fentanyl into their products because it's potent and cheap, and the dealer might not even know. Keep yourself and others safe by knowing the real deal on fentanyl. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. We'll be planting and cleaning up at Tower Grove Park from 10 to noon on Friday, April 21st. It's our one day, one thing. Tower Grove Park is a National Historic Landmark park featuring grassy meadows, 7,000 trees, and flowers that make Tower Grove Park an important urban green space in the heart of South St. Louis. What's your one thing? Join us one day, one thing at Tower Grove Park, Friday, April 21st. Check out our station website for more details.
Katie Collier, owner of Katie's Pizza, turned a Kickstarter campaign into a pizza legacy. She shares her story on our latest podcast, PNC C-Speak, the language of executives. During COVID, Katie's Pizza continued to beat the odds, creating a thriving frozen food business and now working on a third location. PNC C-Speak shares the stories and innovative approaches of successful business leaders to give you ideas that spark growth in your business. Listen today at KMOX.com/PNC C-Speak. PNC C-Speak, the language of executives.
At 10:30, we have 71 degrees, sunny skies downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Stuart McMillan. Here is what's happening. We have more information about the gunfire on the Metrolink train last night. As Cardinals fans were heading home from the game, police say one man was yelling and screaming, acting erratically. That's when another man with a gun stepped in, and during an altercation between the two, the gun went off. Police say the incident happened on the train near the Casino Queen, and the gunman ran off when the train stopped. The 35-year-old who had been yelling suffered an eye injury and was not cooperating with investigators. Also in the news, the 21-year-old Massachusetts Air National Guardsman, Dak Teixeira, arrested yesterday at his home, is scheduled for a court appearance later today in Boston to respond to charges he's leaked hundreds of pages of classified military and CIA documents. We get more from CBS's Catherine Heritage.
Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, a former CIA officer who now sits on the House Intelligence Committee, said
we'll never be able to pull all of that information back from the internet, wiped from a place where our adversaries will be able to see it.
After the arrest, Defense Secretary Austin ordered an investigation into how the highly classified material circulated online for months without the Pentagon detecting it.
Let's get a check of the roadways. Static road work going on now. This is at 70 westbound before 141. The 2 left lanes are closed there. There's some road work on 44 west at 141. The right lane is closed there. 370 west past 270. The right lane is closed because of some more work being done. Some debris earlier. 44 westbound at Lewis closed the right lane as well. Your weather for today, high around 80 degrees is expected. Low around 60 degrees for tonight. Tomorrow, breezy with some sun, then clouds, a couple of showers, a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening. Thunderstorms could bring damaging winds, flash flooding, and hail. High around 77 degrees for tomorrow. Sunday, windy, clouds, break of sun, couple showers, high around 50. Right now, around the area, we have 74 degrees in Florissant, 74 in St. Peter's, and 71 degrees downtown at the Arch with a sunny sky. I'm Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Tamara Green, aka Strawberry, was a beautiful, young, exotic dancer and mother of 3 who was gunned down months after she was connected to a wild party at the Detroit mayor's mansion. The party's rumor, her murderous fact. Who Killed Strawberry is Odyssey's riveting new true crime podcast. 20 years later, Who Killed Strawberry is still a mystery, although there are lots of theories about why she was killed. Was it connected to the party, to a grudge, or to something else? Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Hey Blues fans, did you love the reverse retro look that your favorite team wore on ice this season? If you missed your chance to get your hands on some of that golden merch, don't worry, STL Authentics has got you covered. For a limited time only, take advantage of 30% off the reverse retro collection, including everything from player jerseys and tees to pennants and pucks. But hurry, sizes are limited, and once they're gone for good. This offer ends in-store April 15th and on STLAuthentics.com April 16th. So don't wait, shop today.
Tonight, following the Cards game, it's the return of Friday Night Live by Lowe's with Ricky Horton and Mike Claiborne. Their special guest, 2006 World Series Most Valuable Player, David Eckstein. Friday Night Live by Lowe's on KMOX, the exclusive home for Cardinal baseball.
Hancock and Kelly on this Friday with Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. It is a terrific Friday to be with you right before tax day. Well, I guess technically it's the 15th, but you don't have to have your stuff done until the 18th on Tuesday.
One time I was in a building with my tax guy. I don't have this tax guy anymore because anyway, it's a long story, but I was in the elevator and I had all my papers and I guess it was April 15th. I get into this elevator to go to like the 25th floor to see my tax guy. And the guy who gets on the elevator with me looks at me and laughs and said, "Ha, I hope that's not your taxes." And it was my taxes. I was late. So we filed an extension, but that was the last time that I went in that building for my taxes.
But as business owners, I know because I filed for an extension this year as well, but you still have to pay what you owe.
Right.
So, I mean, the 15th is the worst day of the year. And
well, especially is when you're in business, you've got your taxes, you got to write that check.
Right.
And then you got your quarterly taxes for the first quarter of this year that you got to write, both of them. Boom, boom. Just like that.
So wait a minute. When you file, if you ask for an extension,
if you owe, you
have to pay on the deadline.
Have to pay on the money that you owe.
Right.
Well, yeah, but
otherwise they charge you interest and penalties.
So you have to pay on the day of.
So
the extension doesn't matter then.
Right.
So if you file the return in October.
So there's
I see
lots of people in St. Louis are business owners who have extensions as a result of the flood that we had.
Right.
That one day of flooding, so if you live in certain zip codes, you got an extension. But So my accountant says to me, "Hey, we got you extended, but you need to write this check." And I said, "Well, wait a minute.
So
can't I write that check when we do the thing?" He goes, "No,
No,
you pay on the
right.
day."
I am tax stupid then, because to
That's
me,
for
I'm thinking,
businesses.
No,
Is
that's
it-
for anybody.
okay, well, what's the point
If you
of
owe
having
money.
an extension if you got to pay on the day anyway? Isn't the whole point of an extension that you have
Yeah.
time to figure out what you owe?
Yeah, I don't know. I pay
Right?
a lot of.
Well, so if you haven't done your taxes yet,
Yeah.
you've got, and you think you're going to owe money, you need to send in the money on April 18th this year.
What is the interest rate?
It's not good.
Well,
I'll tell you this,
I
I'm
wish,
not interested.
I wish I had learned this before today. I thought if I filed an extension,
That's
I
what I
had
thought.
time
That's what
to
I
figure
thought.
out what I owe.
Nope.
They'll start charging you penalties
So,
and
but
interest.
is it? Do you
Oh my
see what I'm
gosh.
getting at here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
What's
doesn't
the
make
The
any
point?
whole point
sense.
of an
Yeah.
extension is I need more time to figure out what I owe
Yeah.
you. If
Yeah.
I already know what I owe you, then why would I need an extension?
Exactly.
But
It doesn't make any sense.
And if you choose to not pay, I guess you get to pay later, but you're going to pay penalty. And
If you
interest.
have IRS issues, you have legal issues.
Call Lance Drury.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I was filling up my basement with my Patriot Supply because the world is coming to an end, apparently.
That's what I've heard.
I'm soon going to find out
I'm
what that
ready.
interest rate is, it seems.
I think you're going to be all right. I think you'll be all
Because I
right.
don't make very
I
much.
think
No,
I honestly-
I think it really goes at. I think individual tax extensions. I mean, unless you're Bill Gates or Elon Musk, you may be paying extra $10, or whatever.
it'd be
but
more than that.
Listen,
but
I
as
don't
a
wanna
business
say-
owner,
I don't want to say how much I make, but between Bill Gates and me, we've got billions.
clearly,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't think you're okay. I think you're going to jail.
Yeah.
Well, she's
Wow.
always worried that she's breaking the law, and here we are finding she is.
I am breaking the law.
So
I
you
thought
got
I
till
had
Tuesday.
time.
You got till Tuesday. You got all kinds of time.
This is a meaningless extension.
Don't you have a
Thursday.
computer thing that you can put all your info in and find out what you owe?
I have a lady.
Oh, you have a lady.
Yeah.
I got a guy.
You got a guy?
I got a guy who does my stuff.
Yeah.
I got a guy who I think his kid's going to Harvard or something.
She's a lady.
On your dime.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Every time, I mean,
she's
what a
a
racket
lady.
taxes and being an accountant
Talking
are,
about
right?
my tax lady.
Like,
Oh my God.
You get to pay them a lot of money to tell you how much money you owe the government.
Hey, speaking of documents, how about this Pentagon guy, huh?
Not good.
Yeah, right.
bad
Not a bad
look.
look. Not a good look, right, John?
Hey,
What's not a good look? What's
Every
not-
time we, it's not a good look,
Not a
man.
good
Just
look.
not a good look at
It
all.
surely is not a good look. Are you guys watching some of the conservative TVs and stuff and Marjorie Taylor Greene out
I don't hate myself enough.
supporting
Here's
and
what I
defending
don't
the
understand.
leaker?
I do not understand the defense of this person.
There is none.
There
Hey,
is no
it-
defense.
I can't. I'm just. I shouldn't say I'm stunned.
He's a
that I'm
role
seeing it.
playing
A
loser
21-year-old.
who wanted to feel important, wanted to feel special. Sorry, his self esteem is in the dumps, but you just put the country at risk. You
put
endangered
people at risk.
people's lives. You're talking about like war, battle strategy, the weaponry, and how long Ukraine is going to be able to push back against Russia because you feel sorry for yourself because nobody likes you. Get over it. I hope they throw the book at him. What
They
an
got him.
absolute loser in these little online groups pretending to love God, these ersatz patriots and their guns and their paramilitary gear. Loser. Throw the book at him.
Well, my
I
problem.
just throwing ersatz at him. That's that was impressive. Wow.
What was that?
Ersatz.
This is-
What's
She
an
laid,
ersatz?
she laid an ersatz on you, Kelly.
What's that?
You totally missed it.
Yeah, what is it?
It means fake, like
Ah.
a substitute, like ersatz patriotism. It's not
I was
real.
impressed. I was impressed. She was going on and on about the loser, and then all of a sudden, he's ersatz got a
She
hold of it.
says it to me. She's like, "You are so ersatz."
Yes.
Like, damn, I
Who
don't know
uses that word?
Amy Mark scores.
What is that? That's like sounds like old English
She's-
from like some
no,
Shakespeare
she
novel.
got
or
she got the
something.
thesaurus Rex out there, and she's whipping out the words. That's impressive. No, so the kid needs. Here's what I don't get: how does a 21-year-old have
Mhm.
access, and how is our classified information being transmitted over fiber without being properly encrypted? I mean, I
Well,
think
he
there's some
was-
deeper questions here.
The one thing he was doing, he had physical copies
Right.
apparently, and at first he was transcribing all of it, which I guess you can't really, I don't know how that you would encrypt that. Well, he could have. I suppose, but it's not like he was sharing files. He was typing it all out for himself, and then he got upset that people in the group, because they're all 14 years old, didn't understand
And it was
and they weren't
military-
paying attention.
yes.
So he started posting photos of the document.
Because it was military jargon, it was acronyms, obviously very high level intelligence, top secret documents. They might be hard to understand if you're 16 years old.
Right.
And as you mentioned, he was upset with them. He was a father figure. He was a leader. Again, trying to fill some hole in his own self-confidence and psyche by being the leader of this group of kids, jeopardized the national security, not only of our country, but of other countries, of, like you said, people's lives. It's unbelievable.
It is, and it undermines our ability to conduct intelligence, because all these other nations share their intelligence, or used to share their intelligence with us. And what we've seen play out now over the last year and a half between Donald Trump and Biden had a few, and Pence had a couple, and now this kid, when you lose the confidence of your allies,
well,
that's the problem.
That's not good.
I mean, if I'm an ally, though, I don't lose confidence over a former president or a vice president having classified documents. The
Maybe.
fact that a 21-year-old who, I mean, I guess he did some tours in the military, but you would think that even does every military serviceman have access to all of this stuff? That's quite scary. I mean,
It is.
This is really scary that this is going on. And when the other day I was petrified when the White House came out and said, we really don't know what's happening. And it's like, good Lord. I mean, y'all are supposed to be in charge here.
I cannot fathom even attempting to defend this person.
No.
Right.
This is even before we knew what he was into, before we knew that he was into guns. I don't care that he's into guns or that he's maybe got right leanings. I don't care about that stuff.
Right.
Before we knew any of that, I thought they should find this person and punish him to the fullest.
Right.
Whatever the appropriate punishment is, give him the max.
Right.
Because we can't have somebody just throwing this crap out there and then putting people who are in service to the country around the world in jeopardy.
Right.
Whether they are our own people or people who are citizens of another country who are helping us out, we're putting all those people at risk because this guy just wants to impress a bunch of 15-year-olds.
It's unbelievable.
But it's not a small group of people who are out there defending this guy.
If you're defending this person, you're an idiot.
Right.
You're just an idiot.
You
There's nothing to defend.
You got
here.
a lot of ersats going on.
A lot of ersats.
Listen,
Listen, if you're defending Jack Teixeira, you are an ersatz.
You are.
How do you spell a name?
ERSATZ. It's an inferior substitute for something. But I will say, okay, I went off a couple days ago on how sex and power corrupts everybody. Every man throughout history, I don't care what religion you claim to be. I don't care if you claim to come in peace or you claim to be a politician who's going to save the poor and save the country. No matter who you are, sex and power corrupts. I think they're so dangerous, and I become incredibly cynical when those two factors come in, whether you're in Jefferson City or you are in Washington, D.C. Another element that I see really starting to fester and grow in this country is just like self-pity. I think that is one of the most destructive feelings that people can have, and just seeing this kid, because ultimately he wanted to feel important. Ultimately he was craving some type of validation that he didn't have, and I think that's why on January 6th you saw so many LARPing, that live action role playing military groups with all of the guns and the equipment that they collected from their mom's basement, and suddenly they're going to feel important because they've been victimized, they've suffered injustice. And I think self-pity right now is really having its way with our country, both the right and the left, and it's so damaging.
Ersatz.
I feel like she's picking on us, John.
Yeah, she is.
What?
I think she's picking
Oh,
on
no,
us.
I don't have any self-pity.
I learned another word from Amy in that rant. LARPing.
Yes.
Never
Live
heard of that
action
either.
role playing.
Wow.
Really?
Mhm.
That's a young person term, probably, right?
It's people, it's what is that? The stolen valor, people who want to feel important. They want to feel brave, but they don't have a brave bone in their body, so they have to pretend.
I feel brave coming in here every day.
Yeah, there you are. You're out there.
Would that
You're out
congressman in
there
New York be a
LARPing your
LARPing?
ersatz every day. It's incredible.
Hancock and Kelly,
we're done.
Another successful day with us.
Was it, though?
Another successful
Was
Friday.
it?
Well, I've got an announcement. Do we have time for this?
Yes.
Friday Night Live by Lowe's is back. Starting tonight after the game, John Rooney, Ricky Orton, and Mike Claiborne with special guest David Eckstein.
David Eckstein.
They're on the
Eckstein.
second floor outside the patio
The
of
second
the Live
floor.
by Lowe's Hotel across from Busch
Lowe's
Stadium.
Busch Stadium.
Across
You're welcome to
from
hang
Busch
out.
Stadium.
How about that?
Hang out.
Unbelievable.
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 Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, go play your snooker.
Peace and love, people.
Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft will be joining us at 11 o'clock. Amy and Chris coming back in a moment. Did you see this? Next on KMOX. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji here.
Join us Tuesday, April 18th at the Center of Creative Arts as KMOX presents a conversation with CBS Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett.
Major will be there to sign his new book, The Big Truth.
You can pre-purchase your copy at Left Bank Books or the night of the event.
A conversation with CBS Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett, Tuesday, April 18th. The event is free. You do need to reserve your spot, though. For more information and reservations, KMOX.com/events.
Are you a people person looking to change careers? If so, the Metro Transit team would like to talk to you. You may qualify for a special $2,000 signing bonus if you become a Metro bus operator, Metro caller ride operator, or a Metrolink traction power electrician. We will be conducting on-site interviews this Saturday, April 15th at the Illinois Metro Bus Facility. The address is 801 North 47th Street in East St. Louis. Metro Transit offers good health and retirement benefits, so stop by the hiring event Saturday. You could receive a job offer on the spot.
Hi, this is Carol Daniel. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as Best Laser Eye Treatment in STL Magazine's A-List competition. Online at stlmag.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When children were being fatally injured by window blind cords, Honor Law took on the manufacturers to have dangerous cords banned.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9 million.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work. Sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change. And generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 314-720-8081.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
Prepare an emergency kit, sign up for local alerts, and make a family communications plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Amy Marks Kors.
Fabulous.
Chris Ranji.
Unbelievable.
On the show.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that. Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
Marks Kors and Ranji, hello. It is Friday. Welcome in. Amy, there was this poll. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter. And it's not really, it's just a silly poll. A random person asked this question. Could an average person, meaning you or me, rush for 10 yards in an NFL game? Could we?
Oh.
And you have all 4 quarters of an entire football game in the NFL. Could you gain 10 yards?
I love these
as a
questions.
running back.
How
10
good
whole
is
yards.
how
That's
good
it.
is my offensive line? Are we talking the best offensive
Let's
line?
just say average.
No.
Yeah, no, you'd probably die. But so this was a poll, and let's see. I don't know.
Because
Looks
here's the thing: are you assuming that you stay healthy for 4 quarters? Because you
it
get
just-
hit once,
that's
you're
the-
dead.
That's the point.
Then no.
That's the point.
The first time I get hit, I'm dead. I'm
So
not
your-
even living.
Your options are this. Could
Okay.
you rush for 10 yards? You have 3 ways to vote. Yes, maybe, or not at all, dog.
Not at all, dog.
What do you think people voted? How do you
Yes.
think they voted?
I think they voted yes.
Only 21% of people responded yes.
Interesting.
65% of people said not at all, dog.
Yeah.
And
No.
then there were 14 who said maybe.
Because if you think, yeah, but you'd have 4 quarters, then you don't know NFL
That's
football.
what I'm thinking.
If you think you would be alive for 4 quarters of NFL football, then you haven't watched NFL football or you have an inflated ego.
Could have 2.5 yards per quarter. Could I get 2.5
No.
yards per quarter?
The best chance you would have is if another running back put you on his back and ran with you on his back,
That's exactly.
or the quarterback grabbed you and just threw you as far as he could.
Yeah.
Like if you had maybe the quarterback and the running back, they grab you by your arms and legs and swing you and try to swing you, that you would have a better chance.
I would die.
Ron, I don't know if you saw this, but $100,000 worth of dimes was stolen from a truck in a Philadelphia parking lot.
How much something like that weigh?
$100,000 worth of dimes. I don't know, Ronch, but there was a trailer carrying $750,000 worth of dimes. So $750,000 worth of dimes. And someone broke into the truck and took $100,000 worth of dimes. My guess is the reason why they didn't take all of the dimes is because it was too heavy.
Well, that's what I want to know. I mean, it's got to be.
And are the
how
cops
many-
estimating, or did the cops sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. $2.
Remember the little rolls? Did you ever
Oh my
stuff the
gosh.
little rolls with coins?
My
And then you
dad
fold the ends?
had a giant margarita glass, like as big as his head.
Okay.
And he would throw extra change in there.
Mhm.
And when we were kids, at the end of the year or a couple of years, whenever, he would say, all right, let's roll all the coins. And we'd get the coin wrappers, right? You pop them open, you fill them up. We'd sit there, watch TV, fill them up. It would take hours. You take them to the bank. And then suddenly you have $75 worth of pennies. That's
What-
pretty impressive.
Yeah, I love that. But now they have the change counter.
But they take that's the problem.
The
is
percentage.
They take a percentage.
The bank doesn't, though, if it's your bank, right?
Not if you roll it yourself. We had to roll it. Maybe it's
Don't they
different
have
now.
a
but
change machine, you just dump it in?
I don't think we had change machines at the
Hmm.
bank because we spent hours rolling those coins, but it was very gratifying to get the money back.
Amy, as you know, COVID is over.
Yep. Well, again, it's been over multiple times.
It's been over multiple
It's over
times.
and then it's not over.
It is over, but guess what? There's a new variant.
Okay.
It's called COVID Arcturus.
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 Okay.
ARCTURUS. And it has emerged in India, and there's a new symptom.
Mhm.
Do you know what the new symptom is?
Is it a real medical symptom?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Is it upsetting?
I mean, you wouldn't want it.
Severe gas.
No.
Okay.
A new COVID symptom that
Yeah.
we have not seen before. Itchy conjunctivitis.
Oh, pink eye.
Pink eye.
Yeah.
So pink eye is a new symptom
Okay.
of the new COVID coming out of India.
I'm going to push back against this medical article.
Okay.
I think pink eye and conjunctivitis was already a common symptom of COVID, perhaps afterwards, partly because I know a couple people who got COVID and then got conjunctivitis. And when I went to see my doctor,
Really?
yes, my doctor said any type of inflammation like Epstein-Barr virus, cold sores, if you get cold sores, conjunctivitis, because COVID's an inflammation, an inflammatory thing, it can cause all of these other issues. And so, again, anecdotal, but my doctor was not surprised when we were talking about like conjunctivitis in your eye, and she's like, yeah, a lot of people have COVID have this afterwards. Again, if you're a
Interesting.
doctor going, that's not true, I'm just telling you what my doctor told me, and it makes sense.
I had never heard anybody say they've gotten pink eye while they've had COVID
Not
or
while, it's like-
immediately after.
it's after, yeah.
I've not heard of anybody say that.
Which
but
would be
this is-
different than a symptom. You know, a symptom happens during
yes,
it.
Yes,
yeah.
it'd be an effect afterwards.
Yeah.
But this would be interesting because I remember what we've talked about this before, where I thought that when we were trying to combat it early on, that there were so many people who were just like, I don't want to do any of this stuff. I don't want to mask up. I don't want to distance. This is all dumb. That if the symptoms were visceral, where you could see it, and the example I gave was if people bled out of their eyes with COVID, you'd have 100% compliance with people. They would all be masking. Everybody would be
I remember you saying
vaccinated,
that.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Well, how about pink eye? So what if nobody wants pink eye?
Yeah.
Pink eye sucks.
Well, everyone's got a price and everyone's vain, because everyone would say, I'm never getting the vaccine. But what if I said, I will give you $50 million to get the vaccine?
Oh, yeah.
We would increase the vaccination rates. And some of the most ardent protesters when it comes to vaccines, ideologues, I'm sure they would get the vaccine for $50 million. And as you said, when people were rather cavalier and flippant towards COVID, if those symptoms were visual and grotesque, like bleeding from your eyes or pink eye, I think people would also, again, pardon my cynicism, but we hear a lot of erectile dysfunction commercials. If COVID had severe effects in that department, I also think more people would be afraid of it.
Absolutely agree. A texter, it's our buddy Big Blonde Dan.
Oh, hey, Big Blonde Dan.
Says he's 6'5", 235. I've heard he's a big boy.
Yep.
He said he's a former rugby player. Give me the ball, Chris. Give me the ball.
You know,
He thinks
maybe
he
Big Blonde Dan
probably he could get 10 yards.
6'5",
235.
I mean, that's not messing around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much was the how much in dimes did you say?
$100,000 was stolen.
A texter from a 314 tells us that's 5,000 pounds.
Wow. He must have had a wagon or something.
I don't know if that's right or not, but I'm just going to take the texter at his word. They don't lie.
No.
Jay Ashcroft is the Secretary of State in Missouri. He's trying to be governor, and we will talk to him next on KMOX.
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit to tell you that's for sure. That's Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, antique firearms, military relics, uniforms, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring it to Midwest Money at 5900 Hampton in South St. Louis to find out. Plus, Midwest Money is home of the largest model train layout in St. Louis. And the first Sunday of every month, bring your family to see this great model railroad exhibit, and it's free. My advice to you is to bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. So come on in. They'd like to meet you at Midwest Money. You'll be happy you did.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
What's wrong with Rick? He's kind of spacey today. That's Rick's identical twin, Scott. He's not used to answering to Rick. What's going on? Rick asked me to keep it secret, but he asked his twin to cover his shift so he could go to Diamonds Direct to shop. But this is a jewelry store. Yeah, I know, but the prices and selection are so much better at Diamonds Direct. Rick doesn't want the boss to get suspicious, so Scott's here in case the boss sees Rick at Diamonds Direct. But that would mean that the boss is at Diamonds Direct too? Yeah, we have a lot of secrets.
You never know who you'll run into at Diamonds Direct. With unbeatable direct importer prices, the highest quality diamonds, the most sought-after designer rings, the best customer service, the strongest guarantees in the industry. It's just a no-brainer.
You think if Scott had a mustache, would he look like me? No.
Go where everyone else goes. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Well, what if I shaved? Still no.
For store hours, directions, and more, go to diamondsdirect.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we have sunny skies, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. Sitting in for Michael Calhoun, I'm Megan Lynch, and it looks like we've got some stormy weather that is headed your way tomorrow. We'll give you the update on the forecast in just a moment. Our top story this hour right now, police on the scene of the armed robbery of an armored truck. It happened at the Overland Save-A-Lot. We have a crew on the scene. We know 2 armed suspects robbed the truck and took off in a black Jeep. No word on injuries or what they got from that truck. We'll update the story throughout the day. Police say a shot went off during a Metrolink train ride from the Cardinals game into Illinois last night. Master Sergeant Adam Quirin of the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department.
There was an altercation between 2 subjects on that Metrolink train. There was a firearm that was presented during this altercation, and it was used. Our victim was struck with a pistol, and we were speculating that the gun inadvertently went off during that.
The victim was not cooperating with police, but was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The man who had the gun is at large. Police working on getting suspect information. The Massachusetts Air National Guardsman charged with leaking Pentagon documents. 21-year-old Jack Teixeira had his first court hearing today.
Teixeira was wearing handcuffs and a khaki prison jumpsuit when he was read the charges. Unauthorized retention and transmission of classified documents or materials. He did not enter a plea and was ordered detained pending a hearing, which is set for Wednesday. During the hearing, a man shouted, "I love you, Jack." Teixeira responded, "I love you, Dad," and was escorted out of the courtroom. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The National Rifle Association begins its annual convention today. CBS's Robert Costa is there.
This event comes just days after a gunman killed 5 people in downtown Louisville, and less than 3 weeks after a shooter killed 3 children and 3 adults at a Nashville school. Here, many NRA attendees have told us they believe those events are tragic, but say the problem isn't too many guns, and argue the legislative focus should be on mental health and on arming teachers.
Delegates are scheduled to hear from top political figures, including former President Donald Trump and his former Vice President Mike Pence. An assault rifle confiscated this morning at an off-site delivery facility that screens vehicles before they get on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. Capitol Police spokesman Tim Barber.
It was partially wrapped in a blanket, and so they confiscated the gun and then placed the delivery driver under arrest.
He says while it's under investigation, there's no indication the driver was planning to use it for anything nefarious. In remarks today, a senior Federal Reserve official said there has been little progress on inflation for more than a year and that more interest rate hikes are needed to get prices under control. Christopher Waller, a member of the Fed's governing board, did not specify how many more increases he supports, but said in written remarks that inflation is still much too high and so my job is not done. Waller's comments expressing support for more rate hikes follow a forecast by the Fed's staff economists revealed in Fed Minutes Wednesday for a mild recession later this year. From the KMOX business desk, Americans cut their spending at retail stores and restaurants in March for the second straight month. Analysts say it's a sign that consumers are becoming more cautious after a burst of spending in January. Retail sales dropped 1% in March from February. Lower sales of autos, electronics, and at-home and garden stores drove the decline. The Dow from Stifel is down 197 points at 33,831. The S&P 500 has dipped 19 points to 4,127. Checking the roads, it looks like crews still working with that crash on Dunn Road at Route AC. All lanes are blocked at last report. The weather sponsored by STL Fenceworks, stlfenceworks.com. Very warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high near 80, partly cloudy and mild tonight, an overnight low of 60. And then tomorrow we'll start out breezy with some sun and then clouds, and then we could see showers, a heavy thunderstorm possible in the afternoon and evening. Those thunderstorms could bring damaging winds, flash flooding, and hail. So stay with KMOX for the latest weather tomorrow. A high 77 degrees tomorrow. Right now, 74 degrees in Florissant, 76 degrees in St. Peters, and sunny skies 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. Satisfaction starts with quality materials. That's why STL Fenceworks is proud to install high-quality American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products and maintenance-free decking. Visit stlfenceworks.com and let us make your backyard dreams a reality. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info@cardinals.com.
Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on KMOX. Good morning to you, St. Louis and the surrounding area, wherever you're listening, maybe on the Odyssey app. You're listening to us in, Idaho. We appreciate you being with us, and we thank you. The Dave Glover Show takes over at 1. We've got the crossover with that show for that first hour. We go to the guest line for the first time today. We are joined by the Secretary of State of the state of Missouri, Jay Ashcroft, who is running for governor for this state, and he is with us now on KMOX. Jay, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, and what a beautiful spring day it is. We just need some Cardinal victories to make it even better.
Yeah, some Cardinals wins would be nice, especially for us here at KMOX. It's been a struggle early on, as I know you know, and have been paying attention. So your campaign for governor is, you've started. Why did you decide to run for governor of this state?
Well, I just think that Missouri has a tremendous amount of potential, and we're not realizing it. We have a government that seems to be focused on growing government instead of growing opportunity for people to make their own decisions and to be able to be successful and reap the rewards of their own hard work. I think people are disappointed. We have too many politicians that fix the blame. We don't have enough engineers that fix the problem. I'm an engineer. I want to fix the problems and increase the opportunity for all Missourians to be successful.
You said that Missouri stands at a crossroads, and Republicans who control every statewide office and have supermajorities in both chambers of the legislature have failed to deliver. What is that crossroads, and where have Republicans in the state failed to deliver?
I think we really need to decide, is government there to serve the people, to create an environment where the people can be successful, where they can be free to make their own decisions, or are the people here to serve the government? I categorically believe that government is here to create an environment for the people to be successful and make their own decisions. But we have government that just wants to get bigger and bigger and bigger. When I was first running for Secretary of State, when I was in 2016, our state budget was around $27 billion. Now, here we are in 2023, it's at $56 billion. That's unsustainable. A couple of years ago, we were voting on whether or not, or actually the legislature voted. They didn't allow the people to vote on whether there should be a gas tax because they said we need more money for roads, even though they had $2 billion sitting in reserve that they didn't know what to do with. We passed that. A couple of years later, now we have over $5 billion sitting on reserves. We're talking about doing I-70, but they're not even going to use the gas tax for that. People around this state are having a more and more difficult time getting their paychecks to stretch. The government's taking more. What they want to buy for their family, food, gas, you name it, is going up. We need to refocus on the idea that elected officials are supposed to be public servants. We're not supposed to be prima donnas.
I know you say that you want people to be able to make their own decisions. Beyond taxes, what specifically does that mean?
Well, another area we need to look at is education. I believe in local control as much as possible. The most local control is mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, parents being in charge. For decades, we've talked about children in the state of Missouri. Sometimes we pick this area to talk about. Sometimes we talk about a different area that don't have the opportunity for a good education. It's time we stop talking about it and we do something about it. I'm the Secretary of State. My oldest child goes to public high school. I'm a product of public schools. My 3 younger kids all go to private schools. We could give every parent in this state the same ability to send their kids to private school that I have, and we'd save money.
I am historically Republican, a conservative. I was homeschooled and am a big fan of small government. And I know you said the people, local control, should make their own decisions. How is that reconciled with your proposed rule change regarding libraries and a certification requirement for those libraries receiving state funds, when the libraries themselves, the cities, that would be the ultimate local control, because this does feel like bigger government stepping into smaller government and mandating, deciding for the libraries what books they can and cannot have.
Have you actually read the rule?
I have read the part of the
Have
prurient
you
interest
read
of a
the
minor.
rule?
I have not read the entire rule. No.
Well, see, that's the problem. This rule, you just mentioned the government telling the local libraries what they can and can't have in their library. This rule doesn't stop a local library from having any material in their library. If you'd read the rule, you would know that.
What
What this
what does
does
it do then?
do,
Okay.
what this does do is it says you cannot use the state portion of your funds, which generally it's going to vary by library. I think when I was in Kansas City, they said it was around 1% of their budget. Some of our libraries, it may be more like 3% of their budget. You cannot use those funds to buy materials that are defined as obscene or pornographic under Missouri law. That's what we said. You cannot use the money from the state to do that. If your library really wants to buy materials that are deemed already under state law as obscene or pornographic, they can do that. They just can't use the state money. But
Yes.
beyond that, go ahead.
Oh, no, yes. And that's the part that I have written down, that state money cannot be used to purchase or acquire inappropriate materials in the form that appeals to the prurient interest of a minor.
And the original rule used prurient. I was hoping that libraries would give me comments to figure out how to better define that. They didn't, but in the finalized rule that we've sent to the Administrative Rules Department, it actually lists and goes directly to statutory definitions that are already in Missouri law with regard to pornographic and obscene material. But libraries could still buy that if they want to. I'm not suggesting they should. Please don't take it that way. We're just saying if you want to take this state money, you can't use it for that purpose. And that's a choice that libraries have to make. When you're taking money from someone, when they're saying, hey, would you like this money? It's their right to put strings on it. That's not about local control. They still have local control over what they do with their money that they collect locally. And when you look at the policies and procedures required in that rule, we didn't say this is the policy or procedure that you have to have. We said you have to have a policy and procedure that takes these things into account, that creates a system for saying what's age appropriate or what's appropriate for certain ages, so parents can have visibility and make decisions on that. When you have a program, be it internally or externally at the library, when you advertise that, you have to say, this is what we think it would be age appropriate, or what ages it would be appropriate for, and this is why, so that parents can make that decision. We're not saying you can't have those programs, but you have to be forthright and open with parents so they can make those decisions about whether or not they want their children to be a part of them. This is about transparency, about visibility, and giving parents control. We don't ban any books from the library, even if I might like to do that.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft is visiting with us on KMOX, and the efforts with the libraries, the efforts with the drag shows that we have seen around the country, including in this state, have been at the root, at least we are told, to protect children. When we know that children, one of the biggest dangers they face is gun violence. We know that for a fact. That is not in dispute. What are your ideas when it comes to combating gun violence as it pertains to children who are largely affected by it, more so than any other threat they face in this country?
Well, I wouldn't agree with that at all.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, those are the numbers.
No,
it is
it's
the
not.
number one killer of kids in the country.
Guns do not kill people. People kill people.
People with guns kill kids. Kids find guns and they accidentally shoot themselves.
People commit suicide with guns, yes. But the idea that the inanimate object is causing that. We have a moral problem. We have a values problem where people are devaluing life. We have a problem where we are not providing assistance for people that have mental health issues. I agree with you on that. But the idea that an inanimate object, a gun, is going around killing people is ridiculous. The idea that whether or not we're putting pornographic material in front of 5-year-olds is not something we should be concerned about is ridiculous. When we devalue life, when we devalue the values that this country was built on, we end up with violence. That is one of the things that leads to violence. When we tell people that life doesn't matter, they're more likely to take life.
I don't think that's the issue. I don't think anybody's saying that life doesn't matter. What they're saying is there are too many weapons and they're too accessible. And kids, even if it's not a person coming into a school with a long gun or two and shooting up that school, it's a kid at home finding a weapon, or it's a kid who has
Then explain this
mental
to
issue.
me. Guns have been prevalent in the United States for longer than I've been alive. And I'm only 50, although I feel older than that. What changed?
We have more than we used to. There have always been a lot of guns, but now we have more guns.
That's what
than
I'm
people.
saying is that that sounds more like a correlation than a causation.
I don't think it
what
does.
Changed? Well, okay, and we disagree, and we can. But it sounds to me like if you're going to say that it's because of guns, why didn't it happen 50 years ago when we still had a lot of the same gun culture? I believe it was a lack of personal well, I believe now it's because of a lack of personal responsibility. I think it's because of a change in our values, unfortunately. I look, I'm not saying we want to be putting pistols into 3-year-olds' hands. That's not what I'm saying. But I think if we cannot legislate away this problem of guns, criminals will violate the law to cause carnage when they want to. People that want to commit suicide, and when you look at gun death numbers, there is a lot of that involves suicide. It's not an inconsequential number. They will commit suicide in other ways. When you look at gun deaths, gangbangers and drug dealers will either find a way to have guns or they will find another way to kill each other. We have to get beyond the idea that guns are inherently evil. The problem is with the people that use them inappropriately, and that's what we need to be talking about more.
Jay, I would ask, where would I fit in the Republican Party? And I ask this because I know that having more gun restrictions, and I am pro Second Amendment, but I'm also pro more gun restrictions, permits, and red flag laws. And for the argument that, well, if we, bad guys are still going to get guns, I felt that, for instance, recreational marijuana is a greater detriment to society than it is a benefit. That's my personal belief. Obviously, it's legal here, but I wouldn't make.
We actually agree on that.
But I wouldn't make the argument though that people are going to do pot anyways, so it doesn't matter if we make it legal or not. Obviously, making it legal makes it a bit more accessible and also gives psychological permission or credibility to someone who maybe would be on the fence. When it comes to guns, again, I am pro Second Amendment, but I also agree with you that our country, the cultural fabric's breaking apart. But part of being a free country is having virtue, and freedom without virtue isn't free, and virtue without freedom isn't virtuous. It's always this tension. And as we look at where our country is, as well as the proliferation of guns, the technology of high capacity guns like AR-15 style rifles, which are overwhelmingly used in mass shootings, couldn't we be both pro Second Amendment and say we need to look at some of the rules regarding high capacity weapons, how we buy them, making sure that people have permits, instead of just saying, well, it's a free for all because rules don't matter anyway?
Well, a couple of things. I love that you bring up virtue, because I was talking about values. And I think that is more of the root cause of what we're seeing. And I think that's a discussion that needs to be had. Secondly, I would push, and I don't mean to be rude, I would push back on the idea that you believe in the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms if you believe in red flag laws and you believe that someone should lose their right to the Second Amendment without being adjudicated. And
but what about in
what
Florida?
Other right do we?
Where the red
other right-
legislature, if I may push back, we have a Republican government and governor in Rick Scott before Ron DeSantis. You had a Republican legislature, and after Parkland, they still were pro Second Amendment in Florida. Often held up as a beacon of conservative policy, and they were able to create and enforce red flag laws over 8,000 times since Parkland.
Well, I will continue. What other right that's guaranteed by our Constitution do you think you should lose because one person goes to court without you being able to present a defense, and you should lose that.
I would say it's not losing it in the same way that there is the First Amendment itself is not without limits.
It's not absolute.
It's not absolute. And I think the Second Amendment as well, you can have very, very high standard of burden of proof where it is a temporary, sometimes 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours, to look into the mental health, the background of the person for whom you are concerned when it comes to buying guns. To me, that is very practical and not unprecedented. We already do have some limits to the weaponry the citizenry of America can purchase.
Well, what I would say is when you look at red flag laws and the way they're being written and talked about by people, they do not provide the due process for the people that are being accused. And I am extremely concerned with the idea that any right, not just the Second Amendment, but any right that we have that's guaranteed by our Constitution would be taken away without people being given due process. I think that's a really big concern, and that's something that I think needs to be addressed. Secondly, I understand that you might like what Florida did with red flag laws, but to impute that I have to like what every Republican does to me is kind of a straw man. I don't believe that Republicans are doing what they ought to do in large part. I don't believe that red flag laws are the right way to go. I think they can be abused, and they do get abused. And if we're going to be taking away someone's constitutional right, whichever right it is, I think there needs to be due process. That's all I'm asking for. That's what this country is built on. You don't lose rights without due process.
Jay Ashcroft's visiting with us, and we do appreciate your time, even if there isn't a
You're putting
agreement.
up with me?
No. I mean, really, we appreciate it because we don't think there are enough people who are willing to talk to outlets that are not outright friendly to them about everything all the time. So we appreciate. No, seriously, we really do appreciate the discussion here and the fact you gave us your time today. I do have one more question though about the city of St. Louis, because we know that this state and people around the state are very concerned about what happens here. I think we should be concerned about what happens in Kansas City as it pertains to crime.
Yes.
Do you not think that the availability, the maybe too much availability of guns has anything to do with what is happening in the city of St. Louis and in Kansas City? I think you can include them too.
I think the biggest problem in the city of St. Louis is we have criminals that we refuse to prosecute and we refuse to put in prison. If they were prosecuted and put in prison, they would not continue to commit crimes. I love the idea of local control, but we have seen local control break down in the St. Louis City Prosecutor's Office, where she has refused to do her job and protect the people of the jurisdiction. And unfortunately, I think something needs to be done to make sure that the people of St. Louis are protected. Missouri does better when St. Louis does better. Missouri as a whole does better when Kansas City does better. This can't be an urban-rural thing. We want Missouri as a whole to do better, and we need to help St. Louis specifically to do that.
Jay, again, let me reiterate this. We really do appreciate your time today. Thank you for visiting with us, and we hope that we can talk again in the future.
Would love to. Thanks for having me. I hope I wasn't too harsh. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Don't think so. Jay Ashcroft is the Missouri Secretary of State who is running for governor for the state of Missouri. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, if you have thoughts on what you heard, 314-436-7900. You're welcome to join us on KMOX.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
What if you could do business without busy work? With Ramp, you can. Ramp is the future of finance with smart automation, corporate cards, and spend management. Just imagine, no more expense reports or shuffling wrinkled receipts. No more slogging through invoices or getting surprised by unexpected charges. Just your business's big idea with smart spend controls, automation that crushes busy work, and real-time insights so you can make it happen. In other words, Ramp completely reimagined finance to make it work for your business. Get set up, issue corporate cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes. See how Ramp does finance
Join today and get $250 just for signing up. Just go to ramp.com/finance. That's ramp.com/finance to get $250 for signing up. That's ramp.com/finance.
Hi, it's Tom Ackerman. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as best laser eye treatment in St. Louis Magazine's A-list competition. Online at stlmag.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
KMOX, the 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year, recognized by the Missouri Broadcasters Association. KMOX, we were built for this.
Amy Marks, Coors, Chris Ranji on KMOX. We have invited your thoughts, 314-436-7900. We just had a few moments of a good conversation with Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, who was kind enough to give us his time today. We visit now with Kevin, who is visiting with us from St. Charles. Hi, Kevin.
Hey there. So if you group everybody together with these heinous people that are using ARs and whatever they're using, then how are you going to have somebody, a good guy, able to defend you with a 22 rifle or a 38 handgun? It just doesn't add up. And you can make these things online. So who's going to do it? The good guy or the bad guy? The one bad apple should not be allowed to spoil the whole bunch, as the saying or song goes.
I guess my objection to that would be, then we should just have no laws ever for anything for any reason.
And also there's a very, very high burden of evidence for a red flag law where that's the whole point of it, is it's not grouping people together. It's saying if we still want AR-15 rifles available to the public, just showing some competence, you haven't had a criminal history, a history of being unstable, or just get a permit, just so we can at least say, yeah, I've got a permit. I've got my driver's license. I've got this permit. I don't know.
Amy Marks, Coors, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
At 11:30, we have sunny skies, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Police on the scene of an armed robbery of an armored truck It happened at the Overland Save-A-Lot. We're told 2 armed suspects robbed the truck and took off in a black Jeep. Stay with KMOX for updates. The Supreme Court could rule today in the legal battle over abortion pills.
The Justice Department is asking the High Court to step in and put a hold on a lower court's ruling restricting access to the most commonly used abortion pill. The maker of mifepristone, Danco Laboratories, is also pleading with the Supreme Court as the clock is ticking. If they don't intervene, the restrictions go into effect tomorrow. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Billing records of an internet social media platform helped the FBI identify a Massachusetts Air National Guardsman in the leak of highly classified military documents. That's according to court records unsealed today. The new details came as Jack Teixeira appeared in court to face charges of unauthorized removal and retention of classified and national defense information. A judge ordered him held until a detention hearing next week. Checking the roads this hour, it looks like it's mostly work crews out there. A work crew on I-270 southbound past Missouri 370. Watch for them. They're in the right-hand lane. Also work crews on eastbound 44 at 141. The right-hand lane is closed there. Warm with clouds and sunshine today. A high near 80. Right now, sunny skies, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Charlie Brennan sees clearly thanks to Dr. Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today. Or call 314-966-5000.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
When it comes to finding the perfect grill, family-owned and operated Cotton's Ace Hardware has you covered. Get free delivery and free fuel on any grills over $300, and free assembly and haul away of your old grills with the purchase of a new one. With a selection from Weber to Traeger and your local retailer of the Big Green Egg, Cotton's Ace Hardware makes it easier than ever to replace your old grill. Let Cotton's Ace Hardware make your family barbecue more enjoyable with that one-of-a-kind grill you've been looking for. Find your nearest St. Louis area location at cottonsace.hardware.com.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Oh, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code UP80 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's code UP80. Use code UP80 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
What defines us is who we are as a collective group and how we progress and gain momentum through the season.
The Coach's Corner with St. Louis City coach Bradley Carnell. Mondays at 9:35 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt. I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar. I'm Woodson Contreras. I'm Paul DeYoung.
Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Jordan Hicks, and you're listening to the show on KMOX.
If you're on hold and want to discuss the conversation we had with Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, we will get to you. If you want to hang tight, 314-436-7900. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji with you today on KMOX. And we are joined by one of the radio voices of the Cardinals, Mike Claiborne, who is with us now. And Claibs, coming back tonight, we've got the Live at Lowe's.
Looking forward to it. You guys have been part of it from last year. And Ricky and John and myself will be there right after the ball game. Second level. It's called the Bullock. Just come in the hotel, go up the elevator or escalator, and the next thing you know, you walk down to the end of the hall, make a right turn, and there we are. And our first guest of the year will be world champion David Eckstein.
I've heard of that guy.
Very nice. It's going to be a perfect
Had a pretty
night
good run
for it.
in 2006. Yeah, you know what? It's better than tomorrow night, the way the weather reports indicate.
Mhm.
So we'll be outside, and come on by and say hi. We're going to have some fun.
First time for the Cardinals. Actually, no, it was the second time for the Cardinals getting shut out this season. It's not something that I expect is going to happen to them too often. This is a good offense. So we've seen them now, Claibs, for a couple of weeks. What are your early assessments?
Well, very early assessment is that this order, the batting order, even though they got shut out last night, really has some unique aspects to it. And the pleasant surprise of Jordan Walker has been something everybody's been excited about. But there's not an easy out in the order. And I couldn't say that last year. There were a couple spots in the order where you just weren't getting productivity. So I like what I see offensively. Defense is still solid. Obviously, the pitching you want to see improved, especially from a starting standpoint, where you've got to get some starters to get past the sixth inning, or at least get to the sixth inning in some cases. And, the bullpen has been solid. They had a hiccup last night, but, overall, I like the direction of where they're headed. I mean, there's some teams that you would say, this may not end well. I mean, for instance, like the Washington Nationals might have a tough time this year. And there are a couple other teams that just don't have enough, and you can already tell. But I think in the Cardinals' case, they're still, I think, the best team in this division. And, once they get it going and get everybody clicking, they could be as good as anyone in the National League.
One thing we have talked about a lot is the contribution the Cardinals have gotten from the younger players. Jordan Walker has been spectacular so far. Nolan Gorman has really been a nice addition to the team, or well, I shouldn't say addition, but he's been a nice part of the lineup. What do you think of the younger players?
I love the mix between the younger players, a couple of players you just mentioned. Let's throw in Brendan Donovan in his second year. Alec Burleson is starting his second season in the big leagues as well. But I think when you think about improvement, Nolan Gorman, to me, has been the best player from last spring training through this spring training the Cardinals have had. I mean, he's grown in every element. His offense is a lot more consistent, not striking out as much. Defensively, when he plays, he's been very solid. And you can just see the growth in him from last year to where we are now. And the other guys have started to make some impact also. So with those guys, and you throw in a Goldschmidt, an Arenado, and a Wilson Contreras, it's a pretty good mix of young and old, to the point where there's a lot of young experience, but there's a lot of veteran experience, and they all pay attention to each other, trying to make each other better.
Claves, we were talking about this the past couple of days, that with the games being shorter because of the pitch clock in the stadiums, some teams have decided to sell alcohol past the seventh inning, either into the eighth inning, or in like the case of the Houston Astros, 40% of their alcohol vendors are selling alcohol through the end of the game or 4 hours after the first pitch, whichever comes first. Right now, the St. Louis Cardinals will not be doing that. Do you have any thoughts on the in-stadium alcohol sales? I think it's funny how it was, so accepted that everybody just stopped in the seventh inning, and then they just tossed that aside without much ceremony.
You know what, Amy, it reminds me of, this was many years ago, where we had opening day on a Tuesday, and it happened to be an election day. And, you don't serve alcohol until after 7 o'clock. Well, they kind of looked the other way on that particular season. And I think what you're going to see, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. I think, is it that you can't sell enough, or you don't have enough people who can sell it for you? Maybe there are more vendors that are needed, or maybe you have to be able to be quicker to turn it around. I'm not sure if I know if there's a big difference between the seventh or eighth inning, because I don't drink at the ballpark. So it would be hard for me to really gauge it. But I think overall, I understand what the purpose. I think what I would like to see is let them run the course a little longer to see if they can be more efficient in being able to turn around beer sales and just overall concessions, because, no one wants to stand in line for 2 innings, trying to get a hot dog or a beer. So I think you have to look at being more efficient, making sure you have a product that's easy to turn around would be some things I would look at also.
Don't know what the major league numbers are in terms of concession sales and how much they have dipped, if they have dipped at all. But we know the minor leagues were reporting that when they had the pitch clock and the games were shorter, that they weren't seeing a whole lot of difference in the sales because the argument was innings 7, 8, and 9, there aren't a whole lot of sales of anything anyway. So it's probably different because it's the major leagues, but maybe not. I'd be really curious to see those numbers.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. And I think we still need to, this might be like a half a season project. Because I think you have to wait until you get into the warmer days of the season where you have more families out as well, and see how things work then compared to trying to make a determination after 2 weeks.
Mike Claiborne visiting with us here on KMOX. I know we've talked a little bit about what's been going right for the Cardinals, what's been going wrong. One of the big concerns coming into the season, I think, for a lot of us, is how that rotation was going to look. Been pretty happy with what we've seen from Jack Flaherty, though. That's been I wouldn't call it a revelation, but I know it's very early, but it feels right. What he's been doing so far feels right, and I'm hoping that's a good omen for the season.
Well, he got off to a little bit of an odd start where he had pitched 5 innings, had 7 walks, didn't allow a hit or a run, and then came back the second outing, gave up 6 walks. But his last outing in Colorado, which is always a tough place to pitch, he was very, very good. And I think that's the Jack Flaherty we were hoping to see. And maybe it gives him confidence, and he's got some things straightened out with regard to mechanics, and we could see a little bit more consistency from him. The rotation is still a work in progress, in my opinion. I mean, we haven't seen these guys really step in to the level we expected them to, hence the reason why the Cardinals didn't make any offseason deals to bring in more pitching. I think they wanted to get a long look at what they already had before they decided to go out and find something. And that may take a little while longer. But I'm of the belief that you really don't have a real feel for your staff until you have about 5 or 6 starts under your belt. And so far, we've had guys that are now have gone 3 starts. So we've got a little ways to go before we really can evaluate what we actually have as far as the staff is concerned. And if it doesn't work, you have some other options. You may want to go to Memphis, Matthew Liberatore is pitching really well there. And maybe you want to look outside. But, you don't normally see teams making deals this early in the season. They give it a little time to breathe so they can assess what they have. And if they want to move somebody, they need to assess what they're willing to move on. So I would give all that time. But, overall, I like the direction. I just think they need to just keep the compass pointed north a little bit more and figure out just exactly who they are.
Cardinals and Pirates tonight at Busch Stadium. The pregame show starts at 6:20 here on KMOX. Mike Claiborne is with us now. And tonight, live at Lowe's with David Eckstein after the game. I'm sure the people will come by and say hello.
What's the bracket for today? What's our
what are we drafting today?
I'm rubbing my hands together waiting for the fun stuff to begin.
Well, we're drafting worst gifts. This would be in honor of Clarence Thomas receiving some gifts
from a billionaire.
So we are drafting some of the worst gifts we've ever received or that you can receive. Yeah. Do you have a terrible gift?
Well, you know what? I'm kind of from that school where, it's always a thought that counts. But then again, you could have thought of something else. And I'm hard to shop for. So, if you want to do the clothing route, give me a gift card. Mm-hmm. I think it may be a cop out, but man, I'm trying to think. Somebody gave me this hot coal lamp that I can't find. If they came to my house right now and said, "Where's the lamp?" Oh, I don't know. So those sort of things I've received, and you kind of say, and what am I supposed to do with this? Apparently you didn't like it enough, so you gave it to somebody else. You re-gifted it in some cases. Yeah. I don't think I have one that just made me throw up, but I have a couple that every time I look at that gift, I think about them and what were they thinking when they thought this was a good idea.
And you think you need new friends or new family.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Well, the family thing.
Yeah.
How about when you like to exchange gifts for the holidays? Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I was always the guy that got the socks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I was maybe my socks had holes in them and they thought they were doing me a favor.
Yep.
Or they just didn't like the patterns. I don't know. But I always, unfortunately, lucked out with socks.
My friend had an aunt, and she would give you last year's calendar. Like a wall calendar, but for last year.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a nice gift.
I don't know what you're supposed to do with that.
Look back and remember.
Look back
and reflect on
on
what May 3rd looked like.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that a Tuesday?
I don't get that one.
Yeah.
I don't get that one. What's the worst gift you ever got?
Well, we can't talk about it now.
Oh, I've got one. I'll just say it.
Yeah, no, don't do it because we got the draft.
Mike,
you're
know,
just gonna have to listen to the draft.
Come on.
You have to listen to the draft.
Oh my
It's coming
gosh.
up.
Well, give me
at,
your second worst gift.
Like that's going to be in the draft.
I'm just gonna say it. It was a knockoff Precious Moments. It was like an off-brand Precious Moments, but it was just not like painted. There, it was a little Precious Moments statue, but off-brand, very kind of an obese angel, like you know what I mean, like the Precious Moments, but fatter, and just not well made. And and it was a hockey player. It was like the Michelin Man meets an angel with a hockey stick, and it was grotesque.
Yeah, bad.
It was bad.
You know what
I
it
don't know
does?
what I'm supposed to do with
If it does nothing else, it sort of kind of levels off your ring of friends
Mm-hmm.
and what tier they now are in as far as how much you think of them when
Right.
they give you gifts like that.
Right.
So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Mike Claiborne, appreciate your time. We'll enjoy the broadcast.
All
tonight.
right, gang. Don't forget, we're going to be there right after the game. If
Live
you're in
at
the
Lowe's.
vicinity, come on by and see us. We'll be there.
All right, that is Mike.
After a Cardinal win.
After the Cardinals.
After, of course.
Yes,
There you go.
Thanks, Claibs.
that is
All
Mike
right, you guys
Claiborne.
take care.
You too. Mike Claiborne giving us the birds today. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. We will hear from you when we come back. 314-436-7900 on KMOX. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji here.
Join us Tuesday, April 18th at the Center of Creative Arts as KMOX presents a conversation with CBS Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett.
Major will be there to sign his new book, The Big Truth.
You can pre-purchase your copy at Left Bank Books or the night of the event.
A conversation with CBS Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett, Tuesday, April 18th. The event is free. You do need to reserve your spot, though. For more information and reservations, KMOX.com/events.
Hi, Kent Newbold for Newbold BMW. Your BMW is worth more than ever before, so don't trust your maintenance to a bunch of amateurs. Come see the factory-trained technicians at Newbold BMW in O'Fallon, Illinois, or at newboldbmw.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Filing for Social Security could be one of the biggest financial decisions of your lifetime. Find out why with Your Retirement Professors, Saturday afternoons at 1 on St. Louis's News Radio, KMOX.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Hey, this is Dave Glover. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as best laser eye treatment in STL Magazine's A-list competition. Online at stlmag.com.
Track your blood donations right from the palm of your hand and stay updated on special promotions. Download the American Red Cross Blood Donor app today. To learn more, go to redcross.org.
Amy Marks Kors.
This is my show, my microphone.
On the show.
Amy and Chris on KMOX. We are here on a Friday. Again, if you're on hold, you want to talk about the Jay Ashcroft interview, I promise we're going to get to you. First, we want to talk to Scott Jagow here from the newsroom, who's got his 3 good things for the weekend and also roaming St. Louis. Let's start with 3 good things. What do you have?
Yeah, every week I think of something different, some other rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This week I ended up on one-hit wonders. Just thinking about one-hit wonders, and not just in music, but every other area. Is it a good thing to be a one-hit wonder? Is it a bad thing? Any thoughts on this?
I think it's better to be a one-hit wonder
Than
than
a
a
nothing.
no-hit.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
worse to be a one-hit wonder than a multiple-hit wonder.
Well, you've really done the math, haven't you?
Well, I mean,
He asked.
that's a legit response.
Yeah, I'd love to
Listen,
be a
would you rather
one-hit
have
person.
one hit or no hits?
Because
One.
you can take that one hit and you can make a life.
Yeah.
You really can.
Just ask
Laura Branigan.
That's exactly right.
There are a lot of examples, and there are a lot of good examples
Rest
of
in peace.
stories that go along with these. Okay, let me give you a couple of examples. Let me play a cut here.
I never expected that the book would sell in the first place. I was hoping for a quick and merciful death at the hands of the reviewers, but I was hoping that maybe somebody might like it well enough to give me some encouragement about it.
I love this quote. Do you have any guess of whose that is?
Well, it's an older person.
Yeah. Well, she's passed on now, but this was the only interview that Harper Lee gave.
Harper Lee.
Great.
To Kill a Mockingbird, and just the humbleness of
Mhm.
her talking about that book. And it was really the only book that she wrote. She wrote a couple of other things. This thing is a classic.
Can you get it in the libraries or is it banned?
Come on,
that's
let Scott just have a
gonna take-
good
Sorry,
time.
Scott.
It's a
Sorry,
Friday.
Scott.
This
Sorry,
man's
Scott. Go
trying to
ahead.
have three
You
good
want to take
things.
calls on that? All right. Okay, here's another example. Let me get one more, another example here.
What are you doing here?
I heard you were here.
You came here for me?
Is that okay?
You know that movie?
Is
Never
it
Ending
Molly
Story.
Ringwald?
Molly
It is.
Ringwald.
Well, it's 16 Candles.
Oh, yeah.
But the actor who plays Jake, the high school hunk in
Yep.
that, his name is Michael Scheffler. He disappeared after this, and I looked it up. He decided to quit acting,
Yeah.
and he has spent the rest of his life woodworking.
Oh.
So, I mean, this guy's face is
Yeah.
from the 80s, like one of
Yeah.
the best looking young actors. And he is a woodworker in northeastern Pennsylvania now for the last 30 years.
That's so crazy.
I just love it. He was definitely a one-hit wonder, but he decided that life wasn't for him. But he went on to this other life that is completely opposite of being an actor in Hollywood, being in a woodworking shop. I just thought that was a great example of a one-hit wonder.
That is
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Great. But I think it's always better to have that than nothing, right?
Yeah. Well, think
'Cause
of
you're
the
somebody.
other guy in Wham.
The other guy in Wham.
Because
I
George
don't know who that
Michael
was.
obviously went
Yeah.
on. The other guy in Wham, I think his name is Andrew.
Oh, okay. Do you know what I think about? You've seen
Scott looks like, stop wasting my time.
No, I was just going to say, I just know him as the other guy in Wham.
Right? Right?
the Soup Nazi
Mhm.
from
Okay.
Seinfeld.
Okay.
That guy, I mean, he makes money off being the Soup Nazi. I don't know if it's a lot, but he does appearances. He'll, I met him once. I guess you could book him still. I
Can
don't know,
you?
but like he had that one role.
Yeah.
He was in, I think, 2 or 3 episodes of Seinfeld. He'll live on forever.
Yeah.
As the Soup
Incredible.
Nazi.
And music is the perfect one-hit wonder example.
Yeah.
There are lots of examples. See if you can remember this particular song.
Oh, yeah. This is a one-hit wonder. I just assumed
Yes.
this was somebody
I did too.
famous.
It is
We
complete
get it
one-hit
almost
wonder.
every night.
Dancing in the Moonlight by
Mhm.
King Harvest from 1972.
King Harvest.
Yeah. King
Wow.
Harvest. Yeah. That's why you don't know the name because
Dancing in the moonlight. And that
I
kind of
just-
came back because they sampled it with a modern version.
yeah, there
and
was
made it
another guy that
dancey.
did it. I can't go back. I got to go back to the original.
Yeah.
But I guess the idea is that was one beautiful song. And if you don't make another one, like people criticize people for being one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone is Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen, prolific.
Mhm.
There are plenty of people who just have one novel and one song in them, and I think they should be celebrated. Whenever I hear people criticize folks like that, I'm like, well, you write a novel.
Yeah.
You write a
Sure.
hit song.
Well, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
also don't do that with entrepreneurs. We don't say, sure, you put wheels on luggage, but what else have you done?
Ex-
You got lucky. Any other good ideas? I don't think so.
Great job on that pet rock.
That's
Yeah.
what I was going to say. The guy who made $1 million off the pet rock.
Yeah. I mean, we don't, yeah. Okay, Jeff, you created Amazon. What else? Loser. I mean, one hit wonder, that it's a totally legitimate thing. It's more unusual to be prolific.
So for roaming St. Louis, you went
Oh,
to
yeah.
the Pulitzer Arts Foundation.
Have you guys been there?
No.
Oh my gosh, you have to go. It's free. One of the many things in St. Louis that's
Mhm.
wonderful and free. The building itself is a work of art. It's by this architect now. Of course, I can't remember his name. He's pretty well known. Anyway, the building during the day, it changes because of all the natural light that's in it.
Mhm.
And they have this reflecting pool and it reflects on the ceiling as you're walking. And the exhibit right now, there are a couple of them. But one of them is about Native American things in the St. Louis region,
Mhm.
like the mounds and other things. It's really cool. I can't recommend it enough to go to the Pulitzer Arts Foundation. It's right next to the Contemporary Arts Museum, so you can get both of them at the same time.
So that's up by Midtown, right?
Yeah, it's in the theater district
Okay.
on Washington near Grand.
Awesome.
But I was astonished at the building itself.
Yeah.
Just it really was moving. It was a very moving experience just to be in the building.
So Sunday.
Yeah, I talked to the executive director and one of the curators Sunday at 8:20 a.m. and 9:20 a.m. It's a 2-parter, roaming St. Louis. And then my 3 Good Things essay will air at 8:10 and 9:10 on Sunday.
Scott Jagow, thanks again. We'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That is Scott visiting with us here on KMOX. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. Let's try to get to a call before we get to a break. King is in Bridgeton. Hello, King.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So what I wanted to comment about the call that you guys had with the Secretary of State, I don't know. He said a bunch of things that just sounds like the typical talking points and unfortunate, just basically when it comes to the views of Republicans, when it comes to things like the Constitution and rights that he had brought up, I've always loved how Republicans have basically took the Constitution and they've molded it to fit whatever narrative they wanted, or more importantly, who they wanted the Constitution.
Oh, I accidentally cut King off. I'm sorry, my friend. I
Raj,
think I know what he was getting at. I know what he was getting at is that he feels like there's a little bit of hypocrisy there. I mean, I think the hypocrisy probably exists on both sides.
Yes, it does.
In a lot of ways, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong about that. I think sometimes you hear from some people on that side, smaller government, smaller government, smaller government, until they don't want it to be smaller government, until they want to make decisions for everybody. And the birth control thing or the abortion pill thing is a perfect example of that.
It's a unique wave of quote unquote conservatism. It's not really conservative. It's not really small government. It's this very muscular, bombastic conservatism where the Republicans have said, we're tired, of the Mitt Romney. You're weak. We're going to shove it down your throats. And that's what's so unusual right now. It's very populist. It's very aggressive, which fundamentally is not conservative at all. And I think that's really the rift you're seeing in the Republican Party.
With abortion, and I just mentioned that pill a moment ago, that is exactly what we're talking about, because what we were told when it was overturned from the proponents of overturning Roe v. Wade was that it should be about the states. They should get to make their decision. Yeah. Well, this decision this week about the birth control pill or the abortion pill is the exact opposite of states' rights. They're trying to impose it on everybody in the country. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji will recap what you've missed next on KMOX.
I'm getting older. Do I need to worry about falling?
Yes, you do. Every year, 1 in 4 people 65 and older will experience a fall, and many result in serious injury. The majority of falls happen at home, so take a look around. Replace bulbs and add lighting to help you see obstacles. Remove things that can make you trip. Fix uneven steps and floors, and install handrails in bathrooms and on stairs. Consider balance or strength training exercises, which can help with agility. Get your eyes and hearing checked regularly. Changes in your hearing can affect your balance. To learn more, please talk to your doctor about steps you can take to help prevent a fall. You can also visit aarpfoundation.org or MedicareMadeClear.com/falls. This message was brought to you by United Healthcare and AARP Foundation.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The real estate market continues making headlines for both buyers and sellers. The big dilemma for sellers like you is finding the right buyer willing to pay the right price, right? This is Debbie Monterey. And while most agents will make big promises, Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will actually present you with an upfront written guarantee. It states that Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it guaranteed in writing. Does your agent compare to that? Gloria is able to make this bold offer because Gloria already has the buyers in her exclusive buyers in waiting program. So before you list your home, do your research and get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Gloria has solutions and options for every seller because she knows that every situation is different. Call her today and ask about Gloria's no obligation cash offer program or her guaranteed sold program. 314-325-6888 or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12:01, we have sunny skies, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. An armored car holdup on the parking lot of the North County grocery store. Kevin Killeen is at the scene.
It happened on the Save-A-Lot parking lot in Overland at Midland and Woodson just before 10 o'clock. A Loomis armored car truck pulls onto the lot, and as the sole occupant, the driver, opens the back door to deliver a bag of cash to this grocery store, two gunmen in ski masks confront him. He gives them the money and they drive off in a black Jeep Cherokee. Police say at least one of the gunmen was wearing body armor, and there's no indication whether this was an inside job or not at this point.
Stay with KMOX for the latest. We have an eyewitness account of the shooting that happened on the Metrolink following the Cardinals game last night.
It started on the platform of the stadium station.
A man had come down the ramp, ranting and raving, just trying to make a scene of himself. Walked past security.
Dale Becker from Belleville, Illinois, was on the train where he says no security was present when the man making a scene before was now bothering people on the train and was confronted by another man with a gun.
The guy took a pistol and smacked him 3 times with it. And on the third strike, it went off and missed a 10-year-old girl's head by about 8 inches.
St. Clair County Sheriff's Department confirmed his account of the incident with other witnesses. The man hit with the gun was not cooperating with police, but did go to the hospital for a small injury. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The Air National Guardsman arrested in connection with a months-long intelligence leak made his first court appearance this morning in Boston, facing 2 separate counts related to the unauthorized retention and transmission of national defense information and classified documents. At a news briefing earlier today, Attorney General Merrick Garland was asked about the case.
People who sign agreements to be able to receive classified documents acknowledge the importance to the national security of not disclosing those documents. And we intend to send that message, how important it is to our national security.
From the KMOX Business Desk, Americans cut their spending at retail stores and restaurants in March for the second straight month. Retail sales dropped 1% in March from February. Lower sales of autos, electronics, and at-home and garden stores drove the decline. The data is not adjusted for inflation, which rose only slightly last month. Looks like we've got an issue on eastbound Highway 70, a crash before you get to 370. At last report, the 3 right lanes are closed. Also watch for work crews on westbound 270 at McDonald. They're blocking the left-hand lane. The weather is sponsored by Mers Goodwill.
Partly sunny skies and keeping it on the warm side as we go through our Friday afternoon. 78 for the high. Tonight, spectacular for evening plans. 70s falling back into the upper 60s as we go through the evening. Partly cloudy skies, 58 for the overnight low. Saturday, changeable skies. I think we'll see some sun Saturday morning, but a couple of showers and thunderstorms around in the afternoon. 1 or 2 could go on the strong side, though this is not a widespread event. It's a windy and warm day, 78. Saturday night, any rain ends early. Otherwise, partly cloudy and cooler, 45. Sunday, partly sunny, windy, much cooler, 58 on Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Definitely warming up today. 77 degrees now in Florissant. It's 78 in St. Peter's, and sunny skies, 75 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Donate your vehicle to MERS Goodwill today and get 4 field box tickets to a 2023 Cardinals game. It's easy. Towing is free. Donate online at mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Cardinals. Give hope, give local, give goodwill. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info at cardinals.com. Time to rewind the show. This is the show recap.
Amy Marks, Chorus, Chris Ranji on KMOX. Final hour of the show before Dave Glover starts. And then we've got the crossover with Dave from 1 until 2. Today we visited with Hancock and Kelly for the first 45 minutes of the show, as we always do on Fridays. And we got into a lot of nonsense. Most of it is totally not important.
Most of it was John Hancock's fault.
Yeah,
I would say. Because he's adorable,
Mhm.
which you established.
He is such an adorable man. And we discussed during that time the Clarence Thomas situation, who has received gifts from a billionaire friend of his that he did not report. And it's stuff that he should have, which raises a lot of ethical concerns as it pertains to the Supreme Court justice. So what happens next with him, I don't know.
And
Resignation should be on the table for him, but I seriously doubt he's going to do that.
Yeah, and initially when the story broke, the information that we had, it seemed that he was staying at the private residences / private resorts of Harlan Crow, a billionaire Republican donor. But now more information has come out that has really compounded the issue as far as real estate and Clarence Thomas's mom and the house that was purchased and money that was given. And so it has become more entangled and more complicated significantly since the initial story broke.
Well, I just think that Missouri has a tremendous amount of potential, and we're not realizing it. We have a government that seems to be focused on growing government instead of growing opportunity for people to make their own decisions and to be able to be successful and reap the rewards of their own hard work. I think people are disappointed. We have too many politicians that fix the blame. We don't have enough engineers that fix the problem. I'm an engineer. I want to fix the problems and increase the opportunity for all Missourians to be successful.
That is Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, who is running for governor here in the state of Missouri. We spoke to him about an hour ago right here on KMOX. And again, want to reiterate that we do appreciate his time today. And I said it to him. I think that far too often, in particular in this state, there are people who are only willing to talk to reporters or talk show hosts or whatever who they believe are going to throw them nothing but softballs. And he did not.
Yeah.
And we are not here we're not trying to get you. We just want to have a real conversation with people who want to run the state. And he was willing to do that. And we appreciate it, even if I personally don't agree with him on a lot of things.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate his time. That's something we've talked about. Politicians not being willing to come on stations and have a discussion.
And it goes for everybody. It's not just Jay Ashcroft. He did it, but it's not just people in this state, and it's not just Republicans. It happens on the other side, too.
And the clip you heard, that answer about Missourians making their decisions, I had asked him about his quote when he announced that he was running for governor, that Missouri was at a crossroads and that the Republican legislators in the state were not getting things done. And that was his explaining what he meant by that.
Also, we talked to him about the volatile gun situation in this country, and especially the state of Missouri.
Guns do not kill people. People kill people.
People with guns kill kids. Kids find guns and they accidentally shoot themselves.
People commit suicide with guns, yes. But the idea that the inanimate object is causing that. We have a moral problem. We have a values problem where people are devaluing life. We have a problem where we are not providing assistance for people that have mental health issues. I agree with you on that. But the idea that an inanimate object, a gun, is going around killing people is ridiculous.
Well, nobody's making the argument that an inanimate gun is on its own going around and shooting people. The argument that's being made is there are too many people who have access to them, who should not have access to them. And I think of this comedian, and I've said this before, I can't remember the guy's name, who made the comment that all of you who are Second Amendment people, all of you who own guns, who maybe go to gun ranges and maybe you shoot in your own backyard or wherever you live, whatever. Every one of you knows somebody that you wishes did not have a weapon. Everybody knows somebody that you don't think should be armed because they are potentially dangerous people. And we had a texter during that conversation who said they will tell you that the Democrats are doing nothing as it pertains to fentanyl. Isn't fentanyl an inanimate object too? It's not the drugs, it's the end user.
Yeah, and to that point, we had another texter who said, it's not the gun, it's the person, ? Give me a break. That argument can be used for anything. Pharmaceuticals. Ashcroft's argument about it being guns and not people, but then you look at pharmaceuticals, even Sudafed being restricted. Another texter making that point.
Absolutely. So that's where I differ with him, because just because it is a right does not mean there have to be some safeguards in place, because we have to face the reality of what is going on. It's a great idea to say, hey, First Amendment is absolute. You should do whatever you want to, say whatever you want to. Second Amendment, same thing. Well, the reality we live in is that is just, it's not good for us as a country. It's the numbers are there and they're slapping us in the face.
Here's another texter who says they are conservative. It's a longer text, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it because it's about the state takeover of the city police. Loved hearing you articulate Second Amendment thoughts. Well put. I'm so perplexed by this idea that's been circulating regarding city police standing to lose their jurisdiction. I'm further confused by Jay Ashcroft's position, as it seems inconsistent with his arguments regarding Second Amendment rights. Regarding the city, it seems like a Pandora's box to have bigger government overreach on the basis that little government isn't doing their job. While I 100% agree that what is happening in our city is bad for the city and bad for our state. Failure in leadership is bad for our communities and for commerce, but I fail to see that as a grounds for a, quote, takeover. I don't recall that ever being the crucible at which we determine authority. I would love to understand this better. Is there a precedent I'm unaware of? If not, it seems like a dangerous precedent to set. I no more want a standard set of state government taking over smaller local governments than the federal government doing that to our state. Thoughts? Am I missing something?
Well, to me, it boils down to, and maybe I'm processing that wrong, but it boils down to either you're small local government minded or you're not.
And that's what this person is saying.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So either you believe in it or you don't. And if you believe in it with caveats, then you can also believe in the Second Amendment with caveats too. Mm-hmm. So if you say it should be local control, and if you scream that all the time, but then say, yeah, local control, but it's not working in St. Louis, so we need to step in and do something. You can't make that argument and then not make the same argument as it pertains to weapons, because you're being absolutely hypocritical. So if that's what the texter is saying, then I agree with it.
Yeah, the texter is saying that, confused by Jay Ashcroft's arguments regarding Second Amendment, but then being pro-state takeover of city police, even if you disagree with police, is just doing a bad job reason enough for a larger government to step in.
Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX. It's Draft Friday, and what we are drafting today is terrible gifts. And the gifts are in the news this week, and we'll draft the worst ones you can get next on KMOX.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 AM further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jules on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jules on Hampton your first stop. Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Underlaw, we're looking for brave clients who've been injured and are ready to stand beside us in our fight to improve the safety of our community.
Call Underlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Has anyone seen Roger? Where's Roger? It's time to open the jewelry store.
Where is everyone?
Did they all take the day off?
At traditional jewelry stores everywhere, employees are quiet quitting and going to Diamonds Direct, not just to work, but to shop. That's because even with employee discounts, Diamonds Direct offers all shoppers better selection and much better value. As a true direct importer of diamonds, Diamonds Direct has long-standing relationships deep in the world diamond industry, as well as the best diamond cutters across the globe, so they can say the quiet part out loud without the middleman markups. Diamonds Direct offers customers bigger, higher quality diamonds at a lower cost every day. Not to mention the best selection, the best customer service, best warranties, and best overall experience.
Hello.
Quiet quit paying too much for your diamonds. Go to Diamonds Direct. You won't be alone in how happy you are. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get details, directions, showroom hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Trusted information, live and local. From the award-winning KMOX newsroom.
The show and the draft.
The draft.
Building the perfect team.
I love the draft.
It's the draft.
More draft.
On the show.
It's Draft Friday. And if you're on hold, we'll get to you. 314-436-7900 after we do the draft here. Quickly, we are drafting bad gifts.
Bad gifts. Just things
gifts.
You're like, oh, come on.
You know, with Clarence Thomas receiving gifts from his billionaire buddy and not claiming them or not reporting them.
These are gifts that you might not want to claim.
Gifts that you may not want to claim either.
Because they're bad.
So we will we'll do it today. Amy, do you want to get started or do you want me to go? I think you went last time.
Yeah,
I will
you go first.
Okay. In our bad gifts draft, gifts you don't want to claim.
Yep.
Number 1 overall, pets.
Oh, that's a good one.
Look, I love dogs. Love dogs. I'd probably like a hamster. I might even like fish. But I don't want you to go buy me a gift of a pet without telling me first, because a gift we imply is a surprise, right? Anytime you get a gift, you don't know what it is. Or you shouldn't know what it is. That it's not as much fun to find out ahead of time. A pet is not the kind of thing you can give to somebody without discussing it first. So a pet is the number 1 worst gift that you can receive.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good overall.
You got to feed them. You got to let them out. What if you live in a building that you have to go downstairs? I don't want to go downstairs to walk the dog.
I mean,
you bought me a puppy.
It's pretty gutsy. It's an aggressive gift.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Okay, here's something, the gift that I do not want, and that is the item you have to return or exchange. because it's like it doesn't fit. They
It
give
doesn't
it to
fit.
you. They give it to you and say, you can return it. You can exchange it for a different size. I forgot which comedian says it, but he said, okay, happy birthday. Here's an errand.
Yes.
I don't want an errand.
Yes.
So it's the gift that comes with the you can exchange it.
You know
you
what?
can
And
return it.
I did this to my cousin too for Christmas. I got him a City SC cap, and it's not exactly the kind of style he wanted, and I screwed that up. And I said, well, just go exchange it and get what you want instead.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm not going to go do that because it was an errand. And then I saw him months later, and I'm wearing a really cool City SC cap. And he goes, why didn't you get me one of those? And I said, see, I knew you didn't want it.
Yep.
So
Well,
I was the
why'd you
perpetrator
buy
of the
it if
bad
you knew
gift.
you didn't
I
want it?
didn't know. I thought it was the right thing. It wasn't the right thing,
Yeah.
but whatever. I don't care. Screw him. All right. My number 2 pick,
Yeah.
number 3 overall in a bad gift draft.
Yeah.
Food.
Interesting.
No one
Really?
food is a gift. Don't
I
get me
mean-
anything perishable.
I can now this isn't very perishable. It's perishable but non-perishable. And that would be the smokehouse beef jerky. It's food, but it's also like currency. It's so good. But if
Nah,
it's beef
yeah,
jerky,
yeah,
it's not
fine,
really
but-
perishable, right?
Well, yeah, but what I feel like, if you've gotten me food as a gift,
Mm-hmm.
snack, chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, gum,
Yeah.
it feels like you bought it on the way out.
Interesting.
You're leaving the store and it's sitting there by the front, and you go, "Oh yeah, he might
See-
like this beef jerky."
Mine's a little bit different because I like chocolate and candies. Like I like if you give me Sour Patch Kids, Swedish Fish, candy bars, I'm all about it. What I don't like is when someone gives you, usually, around Christmas, a Harry and David pear. Because that pear costs $75.
Yeah.
And you could have gotten $75 in cash from this person, but instead
Mhm.
they got you a pear
Yeah, pears are
that comes in a
awful.
lot of packaging, and you open it up. It's a great pear. It's aesthetically pleasing, looks festive,
Oh.
but it's $75 for a Harry and David pear.
Yeah, they're stupid.
That's,
Harry and David, they got some good stuff, but pears are disgusting. I don't understand.
I
I,
was
don't
gonna-
understand a pear.
this might be food, but it's a specific kind of food, and I don't think they're a sponsor.
I don't know. Are you about to say something that's going to get us in trouble?
Well, I don't know.
So are you going to write it down first and let me look at it? And why
Yeah.
is it taking you so
Well,
long?
because it's a long. I don't know if you'll be able to read that.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from them.
I know.
So let's just say this: you're talking about the basket of the fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cut into shapes like a bouquet.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind that gift.
Oh my gosh, that's the most perishable of
I would
perishable
rather buy it
food.
myself. You ever bought it?
It's edible arrangements, guys.
You
I
ever
just
bought an edible arrangement for yourself?
no,
Me neither, but I would.
no, you wouldn't. You would pay $150 for a pineapple on a stick.
What was your pick again?
Edible arrangements.
No, so
the first one, a
no,
gift
no.
you have to return or
Gift you have to-
exchange.
And your second pick?
Edible arrangements.
I said food.
I know, and I said, am I not allowed to use?
All right.
No, here's why yours is different, because you said food, but then said I'd buy one. Are you doing that as a
All right.
CYA in
you're-
case they're a
No,
sponsor?
no. You're doing fruit.
No, I'm not doing fruit.
Expensive fruit.
Expensive fruit.
Okay. That's yours. All right. Expensive fruit. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just say that food and expensive fruit are different.
Yeah.
The number 3 pick for me,
Mhm.
which is number 5 overall
Yeah.
in the gift draft of gifts you don't want to claim, charitable donations.
Oh yeah. How do you
Look,
even know that's made?
I don't.
Right. That's what I would do.
A donation has been made in your name to,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Like when you
Cars for Kids. I don't believe you.
If you ever get married, which I know is not a great threat, but if you were to ever get
Seems
married,
like a threat.
yeah, if you were to ever get married, my wedding gift to you would be a donation to your favorite charity.
What is weak? Like, how do I know you did that
That's
for real?
exactly why that would be it. You don't
Terrible
know.
gift.
All right, my number 3 overall is little like trinkets or statues, like precious moments.
Let me go back to the charitable donations
my
real quick.
gosh.
If you're going to get a charitable donation, here's what I
Mhm.
want from you. Make the charitable donation. Great. Let me know you've done it, but also get me a gift. This is gift exchanging.
No. Listen, you're a 46-year-old man.
Something like that.
And you're a catch, right?
Yeah.
Successful career, handsome and smart. Look at you. So you're going to get a fine lady.
Mhm.
You guys don't need my poor little money. What am I going to give you? Nothing. You guys are fine. You've got successful careers. You guys have been living on your own, throwing money into your savings account, living the good life. Why am I going to buy you a $200 Williams-Sonoma mixing bowl? You don't need it. Buy it yourself.
We're not talking about the wedding registry.
That's what I'm talking about.
Talk about give me a nice birthday gift. I don't want a charity donation.
Oh, I said when you get married.
Oh, when I get married. Okay. Yeah, that's separate.
Yeah.
What's your number 3 pick?
Didn't I do that? Oh, trinkets and little statues, like precious moments.
Trinkets and statues.
Like, thanks for this future garage sale item. That's what that is.
No. So what about full-size statues for your Garden of Evil?
Only if it's fascist dictators.
What if it's Pol Pot?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Joseph Stalin.
I don't want a Pol Pot statue.
Okay. So trinkets and or statues.
Yeah.
My number 4 pick in the bad gifts draft, your presents. And I don't mean presents with a T. I mean presents with a CE.
Yeah.
Like, I live in Arizona. For your gift, I'm coming to visit you.
Who has
I
ever
don't
done
want
that to
that.
you?
It's been suggested
No,
before.
it has not.
In the past.
No.
It wasn't Arizona. It was a different state.
Was it a lady?
That is neither here nor there. And it is none of your business.
It is.
But it's presents. I don't want that. That is not a gift.
It's a gift. Here's, again, going back to weddings. It's a gift if you have a destination wedding. If I have to pay $2,000 to get to your stupid wedding, I'm not buying you a gift as well.
Whatever. That's a good point, though. Destination weddings, by the way, should be illegal.
Yeah.
All right, Amy, your number 4 pick?
Okay. I think this one's going to offend some people.
Of course it will.
And this is actually, a lot of people will disagree with me. But I'm not a play person. I'm not a theater person. I'm just not.
So tickets to a play?
If someone gave me tickets to a
Theater
play
tickets.
because then I have to lie. And I don't want to lie, so I can't lie. They can't go like, how was the play? Great. I can't lie. So that means I have to go.
Theater tickets.
Ugh.
I don't mind it. I love going to the Fabulous Fox.
Don't-
I
no,
love
I do
it.
too.
My mom loves it. I love it.
I'm just not a theater person in general. It has to be right. Here's the thing. Don't presume you know what play I want to see.
Guys and Dolls. MAME. Meet me in St. Louis.
I love that you're a play guy.
I'm not.
You're-
I've just
you're a
seen a lot
theater
of them
guy.
because of my mother.
Oh, you can't blame your mom.
I wouldn't have seen them otherwise. Miss Saigon.
But did you
Phantom
like-
of the Opera, by the way,
Wow.
coming to a close on Broadway.
Mrs. Ranji
Yeah,
is
she's-
really making you cultured.
She really is.
What
All right.
was your favorite?
So here are our draft teams.
Oh my gosh.
I have picked pets, food, charitable donations, and your presents with a C.
Mhm.
You have picked gifts you have to return because they don't fit.
Mhm.
Fruit, expensive fruit, trinkets and statues, and theater tickets. All right. Fabulous Fox, we love you.
And the Muni.
And the Muni. Jay Greenberg, special agent in charge of the St. Louis FBI, next on KMOX.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
It's the spring clearance and warehouse closeout event at Miller Furniture and Mattress now through April 25th. I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. One time each year, we open our Belleville warehouse to the public and offer huge savings on one-of-a-kind closeouts and overstocked items.
Plus, the savings continue in our Belleville, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms. You'll save up to 75% off our list price on in-stock items.
We're opening our warehouse to the public for 2 weekends only, April 15th and 16th and April 22nd and 23rd. There are unbelievable savings opportunities. Hurry in, limited quantities available.
And our showrooms have never looked better with new and fresh looks on display, including our fully stocked Flex Steel galleries and our exclusive Amish-made furniture designs you won't find at any other store in the St. Louis area.
Right now, save 50% off select mattress floor models. You can also earn $200 of bonus cash towards any sleep system with select furniture purchases.
Don't miss the spring clearance and warehouse closeout event at Miller Furniture now through April 25th.
At 12:30, we have sunny skies, 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. 2 gunmen rob an armored car on the parking lot of a North County grocery store.
This is Kevin Killeen on the parking lot of the Save-A-Lot in Overland, where police say the armored car pulled up to make a routine cash delivery just before 10 Friday morning. When the driver got out, the sole occupant of the armored truck, 2 men who had followed him onto the lot from a black Jeep Cherokee got out wearing ski masks, and they confronted him when his back was turned, took his gun, took some cash, and left. But before they left, one of them dropped a .22 caliber long rifle on the parking lot. He tripped and dropped it. That gun has been recovered. The black Jeep Cherokee then raced away south on Woodson.
President Biden weighs in on the arrest and charging of a suspect in the leak of classified Pentagon documents. CBS News White House correspondent Stephen Portnoy traveling with the president in Ireland.
In a written statement issued as he continues his tour of County Mayo, Ireland, the president commended the quick investigation into the leak. He says officials are still working to determine the validity of the documents. He said here yesterday he wasn't aware of any of the material being of great consequence. The White House statement says going forward, the president has directed that steps be taken to limit distribution of sensitive military and intelligence information.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a bill to ban abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, giving the Republican a major conservative political victory as he prepares to launch an expected presidential candidacy. DeSantis signed the measure late Thursday night in a private ceremony, hours after the Republican-dominated State House approved the bill. Let's get a check of the roads now. It looks like we do have some issues out there. Debris in the roadway on 44 westbound at 7th Boulevard. The center 2 lanes are closed there. Also, watch for moving work crews on 370 eastbound just past 70. They are in the right-hand lane. The weather is sponsored by Metro Transit. It looks like we're going to have a very nice Friday afternoon, partly sunny with a high of 78 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 58. And then tomorrow, we could see some showers and a few storms starting in the afternoon, a high around 78 degrees. Right now, we have 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. Need a new job with good pay and great benefits? Come to the Metro Transit hiring event this Saturday from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Illinois Metro Bus facility in East St. Louis, located at 801 North 47th Street. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
Broadcasting from the underlying Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
What if you could do business without busy work? With Ramp, you can. Ramp is the future of finance with smart automation, corporate cards, and spend management. Just imagine, no more expense reports or shuffling wrinkled receipts. No more slogging through invoices or getting surprised by unexpected charges. Just your business's big idea with smart spend controls, automation that crushes busy work, and real-time insights so you can make it happen. In other words, Ramp completely reimagined finance to make it work for your business. Get set up, issue corporate cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes. See how Ramp does finance. Join today and get $250 just for signing up. Just go to ramp.com/finance. That's ramp.com/finance to get $250 for signing up. That's ramp.com/finance.
Find out what's happening with your Redbirds from the manager himself, Oliver Marmol. Sunday mornings at 10:15 on Sports on a Sunday morning, and Wednesday mornings at 9:50. The Ollie Marmol Show.
I'm excited for not only the club but for the fans. This is a special year for sure.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX. Glad to be with you today. And we'll get back to your calls and text messages, 314-436-7900, before we say goodbye today. If you want to visit with us right now, we go to the guest line, and special agent in charge of the St. Louis field office of the FBI is Jay Greenberg, and he visits with us regularly and joins us now from the road. He's on the road, and he's with us today. Jay, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, Chris. Do you have me okay?
Yeah, we hear you perfectly fine. There are a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. Of course, the FBI Citizens Academy, which I am fortunate enough to get to be a part of this year. We'll talk about some of the stuff that we discussed last night, but let's talk about what's happened this week. And really, the big story of the week, there are probably two of them, but one as it pertains to national security, is what happened with the leaked documents. And they arrested a 21-year-old yesterday who was in the Air National Guard, and he somehow had access to these documents. When you see this happen in terms of tracking him down and everything that pertains to this particular issue, how does the arrest come about?
Sure. So, as you guys know, we're prohibited from talking about any ongoing cases. But in the case of any classified material is simply information the government has, which we believe will harm our national interests if released. And so we take the protection of that very seriously. Anytime we get an allegation that there's been a leak, whether accidental or intended, or where somebody accessed or controlled or disseminated information they should not have, we investigate that very quickly and thoroughly because, of course, we need to keep the nation in good shape. So that, the result of that investigation is what ultimately leads to an arrest if we can get to what we believe is, chargeable status under the law.
Because there are so many different platforms, from Discord, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, 4chan, and there is so much potential for highly sensitive information to be out there. Do you have to wait for some type of tip for someone to say, hey, these classified documents were on this niche server, or is it once it hits the public you find out about it? Are you constantly combing different channels for classified documents? It seems a bit overwhelming when you look at the potential for broadcasting that information.
Sure. I mean, it's a great question. Without getting into specific methods, we do have to have some belief that there is the transmission of information before we can go look for something. So we have to believe that a crime has been committed before we can actually start to investigate. So we're not, out there trolling everybody's various social media pages constantly all the time. Nobody needs to worry about that Big Brother is watching. But there is, on the other end of the spectrum, there is a need for us to be constantly looking for where information may be popping up. So it's a delicate balance that we run. Just like when we talk about terrorism, we'll talk about the delicate balance between protecting against violent attacks and at the same time protecting rights and upholding the Constitution.
Jay, we will get to that in a moment, but this past week we had we saw the shooting that took place in Louisville, and a couple of days later there were some phony phone calls, some swatting calls that happened around the state of Illinois. And I know that's out of your jurisdiction, but we have discussed these fake phone calls, these fake threats, active shooter threats, bomb threats, whatever it is, and how they happen. When something like this happens, and it seems like it's going on more and more, what exactly is the role of the FBI?
Sure. So normally first responders on the ground, like the local police department, state highway patrol, they're the first ones responding. They're actually clearing schools. They're having contact with the districts. We normally supplement that. In many cases, we supplement that response, I should say nationwide. It's something we all take seriously, right? Because we saw Central Visual Performing Arts attack here last year, we all respond when there is, a threat of an active shooter. And so, we respond right along with our partners in local law enforcement. As soon as we determine it's a real or it's a hoax threat or a swatting incident, then we start to sort of unwind through an investigation. Where did this come from? And so you only have to go back a couple of weeks. At the end of March in the Western District of Washington, there's a case everybody can find publicly with a young man from Bremerton who for months was making calls all across the nation. And it was through the investigation following each one of those sets of hoax threats that we were able to develop the information which led to him being charged.
We've talked about the swatting and the different hoax threats and how many resources each one of those threats uses. There was, shortly after the shooting in Nashville, a threat in St. Charles. I think something upwards of 200 law enforcement officers were sent over to that St. Charles school. It was just a hoax, but obviously a huge strain on the system. Another aspect of the swatting and the hoaxed threats that I don't think we always think of is, one, some of the people who hear about the hoax or this threat of a shooter, they can have physical reactions. People have been treated for heart attacks. Also, perhaps some people come into contact with police officers, they get defensive, they pull their own guns. Real people have gotten hurt and have lost their lives in the fallout from these hoax threats.
That's right. I mean, these hoax threats are not a joke. They pose danger to the first responders. They do siphon off a ton of resources that those law enforcement departments at all levels want to be using to keep crime at bay in various communities. And this diverts all those resources. It's tremendously dangerous for the responding officers. They're driving, normally when there's a threat of an active shooter, we're driving at incredibly high speed that puts everybody on the roads, including the officers, at risk. And then you're exactly right, Amy. When we do arrive, anybody running into what they believe, any law enforcement officer going into what they believe is a violent confrontation, there's just a lot of adrenaline. Physiologically, you have all your responses going on, and it makes it an incredibly tense situation for the officer and everybody they encounter. And all you have to do is go back a couple of years in Kansas, I think you're talking about, where there was a response to a swatting incident. Police showed up, and then ultimately, unfortunately, that led to death.
Jay Greenberg is the special agent in charge of the St. Louis field office of the FBI. And one of the places, and this was a surprise to me when you told us about it weeks ago, that a lot of these swatting calls or these phony threat calls that come in are happening from overseas, and they're originating from another country for various reasons, or maybe some of the reasons aren't known. Is that considered terrorism?
Yeah, it's not really considered terrorism at its core. What it is, it certainly could be looked at under a terrorism statute when we get to that point in an investigation, because really the definition of terrorism is somebody using violence or threat of violence to either intimidate the civilian population or the government, right, just to terrorize in furtherance of a social or political agenda. So, it really goes to motivation, whether or not something is terrorism. For us to be involved, there's always a federal crime or a potential act of terrorism that we're trying to stop. And, Chris, to that point, these calls can be made anywhere in the world. The way that we're all connected now with the phone networks and with the internet, which has voice over internet protocol, VoIP calls, somebody could be anywhere in the world making these threat calls.
And speaking of terrorism, in the FBI Citizens Academy session last night, we talked about, or the special agents there, they talked about what is and is not considered terrorism. And that is, I believe, for a lot of people, very confusing. And sometimes it's, well, that seems like terrorism. How come this is terror, but that is not? Is it because they're a different religion or a different skin color? Why are some things classified as terrorism and some aren't? And do you have any good examples you think you could give us?
Sure. So when we really think about, there's two different sides of terrorism, the way that we look at organizing against it. There's international terrorism, which is a threat that emanates from overseas and threatens our way of life here, or an international set of information that provides the motivation for an act. here. And then there's domestic terrorism, which is our folks here that are sort of spinning themselves up and then trying to overthrow the government or attacking because of an anti-government, anti-authority, or they're racially motivated, or they're one religion and they're attacking another religion. Many of those can be classified in several different ways for us. They can be hate crimes. They can be simply threats of violence that we bring charges federally when we collect the evidence, or that state and local partners bring locally or on the state level, or they can be a terrorism case. So oftentimes, how we characterize a case is about the agents who are working in concert with our local partners, because it can fit into several different areas for us. And really, the charge that is ultimately levied is almost less important than just making sure that we bring those subjects to justice.
Jay Greenberg, we appreciate your time as always. Love the counterterrorism discussion that was happening last night at the FBI Citizens Academy. Looking forward to next week, and we appreciate you being with us today.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Amy, always good to be with you.
Jay Greenberg is the special agent in charge of the St. Louis field office of the FBI, and a good resource for us here on this show on KMOX. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. And one thing that you need to do is get your annual eye exam if you have not done it already. And something you need to know, well, it is sometimes covered, maybe covered totally by your health insurance. And your eyes can be facing a number of issues. Some of them could be serious, and some of them are just really simple treatments. Whatever it is, at Ophthalmology Associates, they're going to help you. They're going to help you figure out what the problem is, and they're going to get to the bottom of it and give you the correct treatment for it. And maybe that ends up being LASIK surgery. And guess what? At Ophthalmology Associates, the doctors, they are experts in LASIK surgery. I visited with Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, who told me I could get LASIK at some point if I wanted to, but said it's not really necessary for you right now. I feel confident that if I do need it down the road, Ophthalmology Associates is the place I will go. Doctors Greg Birdie, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can make your appointment with any of them. 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-338-0419. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-338-0419. 800-338-0419. 800-338-0419.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
The average family home takes on 40 pounds of dust per year. Dust and debris can worsen allergies, asthma, and cause discomfort in your home. Call 314-474-2020 and get $75 off any of their air duct cleaning packages. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com.
Countdown to Earth Day. Just 8 days to go. As the days get warmer, keep your thermostat set higher at 78 degrees or more to save energy. When we each share one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Prepare an emergency kit, sign up for local alerts, and make a family communications plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Chris Ranji.
Wonderful bones, great eyes, and you dress really interesting.
On the show.
Oh, jeez, Amy. Are you trying to have a side conversation? What's going on there?
I was saying, what did you do last night?
Well, I'll
but
tell you-
as I said it, I hit the microphone.
It sounded like you were trying to talk to me on the side and not.
Hey,
hey, what are you
big
doing?
boy, what are you doing tonight?
You're stupid. All right, so no, you're not really stupid. I love you very much.
Do you?
Yeah,
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
so
glad you found it. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I'm not done. I'm glad you.
Oh my God. You're the worst.
Can I tell you something?
Fine.
I'm very happy for you that you have found a nice man
Oh,
that
thanks.
who tolerates you.
Mason Jar is the
Mason
best.
Jar just crushing it.
He is
Hey,
amazing.
So you know what I did last night? Well, I had the FBI Citizens Academy, and
you
then
were a man about town
I
last
was all
night.
over the place. And then
Mhm.
Banksy Land is here in St. Louis.
Super jealous.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So and I missed the interview when you talked to Britt earlier in the week,
Mm-hmm.
who has put together the entire exhibition that's been going, or exhibit, I guess, that's been going around the country. They are traveling with Banksy Works. For people who don't know, this is a street artist who is very I would say right now, it's the most famous artist in the world, is it not?
Living?
Can you name living right
Yeah.
now? Can
Yeah.
you name anybody?
No, I would say he is because he's, a street artist, an activist. And even if you're thinking, well, who in the world is Banksy? You've seen his works. One of his famous paintings is a guy who looks like he's a rioter, has a face covering, and it looks like he's throwing maybe a Molotov cocktail, but he's actually throwing a bouquet of flowers. The famous Les Mis urchin girl, that's one of his drawings. The famous picture of the little girl holding a balloon, like a heart balloon.
Yep.
You've seen his paintings, and this Banksy Land was a fully immersive exhibit.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's a bunch of his works, and it's at the City Foundry. You have to buy tickets for it, and it is still, there are tickets still available. And you go to just Google Banksy Land St. Louis, and you'll find it. There are sessions tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. It's only here for 3 days.
And it's going all over the world, all
Yeah.
over the country.
Kansas City next.
And a lot of these cities have
Super
sold
cool, though.
out. Yeah.
Super cool to see some of that stuff in person.
Yeah.
It just because you hear about it all the time. And I mentioned this when you were doing the interview, and I was out on Tuesday. There was the time in it's not Central Park. It was a park in New York where, I mean, his works are very sought after. Remember the painting, and you guys talked about it, that shredded itself.
It was at the Sotheby's auction house. I think it was 1.4 million.
Yes, it was sold over $1 million, about almost $1.5 million, I think. And
The minute sold.
The minute it sold, it shredded itself.
Because the frame was a shredder.
So there was a time over the last several years where he set up
Mhm.
and nobody knows who he is. Well, I'm sure there are some people, but the general public doesn't know the identity of Banksy. And he set up a tent or a display in a park, and he put a bunch of paintings out and was selling them for like $20. And nobody knew it was him.
That's crazy.
He was there all day, sold a bunch of it, and nobody knew it was him until after the fact. And then everybody went wild.
Yeah.
Because this guy, you could have bought a Banksy for like $20, which
That's
is
crazy. Do you know how cool that would be?
Dude, he's awesome. What he does
Yeah.
is great. But that was a very cool thing.
That's awesome. So the FBI Citizens Academy, Banksy Land. So I was at Glen Echo Country Club. I'd never been to Glen Echo before. It's so pretty, a historic, over 100 years old, I believe, country club. So I was there for the KB Electric 75th anniversary. So you've probably seen KB Electric everywhere. So they were founded in 1948 by John Conan and Jack Bellman. So that's the KB. It's spelled Kaybee. And they've been headquartered in Florissant. We talk about local companies all the time and how important local companies, family-owned, operated local companies are to a community. And it was really fun just getting to know people over at the KB Electric Company. And I saw the last name Conan, and my good friend Julia Conan, now Julia Conan Griffey, but Julia Conan is a professional runner. She came in 10th in the Olympic trials, 10th in the U.S. Marathon Championships. I thought this has to be just the same family because she's also from the Florissant area. And it is. So like the Conans, Julia Conan, it's the same family from KB Electric. So I just
Same
wanted to
as the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle family?
I think it's a different Conan.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to give a shout out to KB Electric for 75 years. Pretty awesome
long
family
time,
owned
man.
company. Really long time. Opened in 1948 after World War II. I love it. And they're still up in Florissant. So a lot of fun. So thank you for the desserts. They had Made by Leah. Desserts Made by Leah is a bakery in Florissant. Charlie Brennan's a huge
Let
fan
me
of
ask you
them.
that. Were you walking around going, hey, do you guys have cake?
Well,
Give me cake. I need some cake.
So the reason why I didn't do that is I found the cake. I found the dessert. Yeah. We also had bourbon mules. Have you ever had a bourbon mule?
Yeah.
It's like a Moscow
Moscow
mule,
mule
but
with bourbon.
Yeah. That might be my favorite drink of the moment.
I love a good Moscow mule.
Yeah.
Really, really do.
Oh,
and I
and-
still like a classic old fashioned. Except,
Yeah.
here's the problem. Some places, when they make it, they do a splash of soda water.
Mhm.
Disgusting. It's disgusting. What
Yeah,
are you
don't
doing?
put the soda water in there.
Yeah, why? I saw that happen one time. I watched her make it.
Yeah.
And then she did that. And it was almost like, I don't know, like she smacked me in the face and said, here's your drink.
Wow.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Can I clarify? Kevin Renaud
Okay.
of KB Electric invited me. I didn't crash the party.
Nobody cares that you were invited.
Well, I just want to let people know. Have you ever crashed a party?
No, because I have manners.
So I'm going to crash a wedding.
Here's what I would do. If I was really, really famous,
Yeah.
like
Phil Collins.
You are 67 years old. If I was really, if I was like Bieber famous,
Yeah.
I would absolutely just walk into weddings randomly and be like, "Hey, look at me, I'm famous," and then watch
Okay.
everybody lose their minds.
No, see,
that's what I would do.
I'm not famous. No one knows who I am, and I'm going to go crash a wedding. I'm not kidding. I've always wanted to do it.
I mean, I feel like you're a human wedding crasher. You're just, it's just like you're always unwelcome. I feel like.
Yeah. You know what's funny? My nickname I never have nicknames, but one of the nicknames that somebody gave me is Crash because I just show up at people's parties.
It's funny you say that because I had a high school teacher,
Yeah.
one of my favorite teachers.
Yeah.
And his nickname was Crash. And he told us that, but he would never tell us why.
Yeah.
And he said he got it in college.
No, that's my nickname. In fact, the person who named me Crash still texts me on Christmas and my birthday and always says, happy birthday, Crasher.
If you're the family of Mr. Cook from Granite City, let me know why his name was Crash. I have to know.
Okay.
It's got to have something to do with a car. All right, Dave Glover Show next. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. We'll see you next week. Get the podcast on the Odyssey app. Bye.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays